medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
D&M Leasing just delivered a truck to a customer who'd heard their ads for over 25 years. He always thought leasing was just renting, but when the dealership offered him an 84-month loan, he realized he'd be stuck upside down in payments again. That's when he remembered D&M Leasing. We showed him leasing isn't about what you can afford. It's the smarter way most people pay for their vehicles. So, are you ready to stop financing negative equity and start driving smarter? Call 817 or 972-35-LEASE or visit dmautoleasing.com.
We make leasing easy.
Cowboys fans, 105.3 The Fan, it is Zach Wolchuk, and we are here right outside of AT&T Stadium with our friends at Lowe's for the Lowe's Earn Your Sunday Tour. We're getting ready for game time. It's only going on today. You don't want to miss it. It's interactive games and prizes as you step aboard this unique Lowe's and NFL experience and get in on the action. You can play Madden NFL 26. You can step into a photo.
Cowboys football 2025 in crystal clear HD stereo. Today's pregame show is brought to you by
Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiafalo and Bryan Broaddus.
It's a sea of Packer green here at AT&T Stadium as we broadcast live from the Miller Lite West Plaza. And the gates have opened.
They have opened.
They have opened as we inch closer to a Sunday Night Football Week 4 Cowboy kickoff. We are now 3 hours and 19 minutes away. I'm Eric Chiafalo alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Mr. Bryan Broaddus, as we go ahead and set the scene here on the official pregame show of America's team. We're absolutely loaded as always. Let's hear from Tyler Smith, the player profile, coming up here in just a little bit. How about this one? I'm excited. NBC's Tony Dungy.
Yeah, coach is a good dude.
Super Bowl champion, all-time human being, NFL Hall of Famer. Love that guy. Can't wait to chop it up with him here coming up in just a little bit. Of course, we go inside the star with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, Babe Laufenberg. Behind enemy lines with your guy, Broaddus, voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee well. So let's go ahead and get this party started. The Packers are one of the best in the business off of an L, surprising L, to the Browns last week, so they're coming in with a bad taste in their mouth. Of course, it's the Micah return game, and I'm going to go ahead and give you my mantra for this one. This is a shoddy earn-your-money game.
Okay.
Because they're down. I mean, it's getting bad there on the offense with no Beebe, no Lamb, no Booker. That's a bummer.
Right.
But it is also just simply a don't-get-punked game. Okay,
yeah.
Let's not get embarrassed. Let's not get run off. We don't need any flashbacks to the 2023 playoff game between the Packers and the Cowboys here at AT&T Stadium. And the Packers absolutely own this place. So hopefully Shoddy's got something up his sleeve and they can go ahead and put their foot down a little bit, because it's just the boogeyman anytime you see that cheesehead.
Yeah, this is going to be a game where you're going to have to fight a lot of different things. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight this crowd that's coming in. It looks like to me that Green Bay once again will travel and bring their people, so now you'll have to deal with that. You're probably going to have to fight Ron Tolbert today, the official.
Gosh, I hate that this guy is reffing this game.
You're going to have to fight him a little bit.
Is he your least favorite zebra in all of
He's pretty close. He's
the
pretty
league?
Close, but, you know.
He likes to make it about himself.
He will make it. Sean Hockley will make it about himself. But I always talk about this. I talk about things you'll have to fight today. Yeah, the Packers, not only they're a really good football team. And, you know, last week Cleveland did a really good job of putting pressure on Love. You know, they did not let Jordan Love feel comfortable. This is a game with as many injuries as they have on the offensive line. If you felt really good about your pass rush, this is a game you could probably get after. You could get after Jordan Love. But it's going to take a lot. The Cowboys they haven't won many reps on the outside. The pressures have come at times, but they just haven't been able to get the quarterbacks on the ground. But when you put pressure on Jordan Love, he is a different thrower of the football, and he could be. His accuracy tends to wane that way, but he is capable of running and making plays though too. But this will be a test, because there's so many elements, and the Cowboys will be battling themselves a little bit here. You know, you've got guys that are some backup players that are now having to step up. What happens with Hoffman? You know, last week he was in the game, did okay. You know, we'll see what happens with T.J. Bass, and on that right side there, Booker and Steele had been doing a really good job with the run game stuff. You're going to miss some of that today with you know that combination blocks, second level blocks. Packers are good at linebacker. You know, this is one of those teams that really kind of get after you that way.
Adrian Cooper, Quay Walker.
Yeah, Walker and Cooper, both of them really good players. So it's a task. But I say this all the time: NFL strange lady, desperate team theory. You know, we saw already. The New York Giants with their backup quarterback now to be their starter probably the rest of the way. You know, the Chargers go all the way across the country, don't show up, don't play hard, and all of a sudden they're flying back across the country defeated. Nobody saw that. Everybody thought, whoa, you know, Chargers clearly, you know, Chargers 3-0, Chargers this. Well, the Giants got after them. So you never know in the National Football League, boy. But I wish Dallas tonight would find a way to get a little bit of a pass rush.
So what would be your strategy from a pass rush standpoint, all the different ways that you need to find ways to win in the margins to try and beat a team that is clearly better than you?
This guy told us. He told us, we can manufacture pressure. Talked to a defensive coordinator in the league this week. He says, man, if they want to manufacture pressure, better start blitzing a little bit more than they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you've got to find some combination of how to. Is it secondary blitz, linebacker blitz, Maris Leofau blitz? I mean, you've got to figure some things out. Move the fronts, twist the fronts, slot blitz, safety blitz. You just don't sit there and play, 7 yards off in zone coverage and then rush 4 and expect that you're not going to have the same results. Matty Eberflus is going to have to play an uncomfortable game today. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to maybe play some man coverage he might not want to do. He's going to have to blitz some more that he might not want to do. He's got to do some things that he's got to go against some tendencies that he's shown the last 3 weeks that have got this defense beat up a little bit. Teams going after him over 400 yards passing down the field. Vertical passing game has been huge for opponents. And so now he's got to find something out about himself, and he's got to find something about this defense and play that uncomfortable game.
Yeah, you need something to happen on special teams where the Packers are bottom third in the league in many respects. You saw how their special teams betrayed them last week versus the Browns. Shoddy and aggressiveness, right? I mean, last week it was just...
This is a Dan Campbell game a little bit.
Yeah, you got to go for it on fourth down. You've got to be a little bit more aggressive trying to push the ball down the field. Last week it just felt like every other play was, where's Jake Ferguson 2 yards from the line of scrimmage? And let's see if he can make a play with it. Going to have to find a way to get some chunk plays. Of course, everything's more difficult without CeeDee Lamb. This is going to be a big stretch here for George Pickens. Go ahead and prove that you're the guy. Prove that you're a number one guy.
Yeah, this is, last week Lamb gets hurt 6 plays into the game. A lot of the game plan going through him. Now you have a week of practice knowing, okay, George, you're the guy. You're the guy. But, as much as I like to say, George, you're the guy, these other receivers are going to need to find a way to win quick. This game could very well come down to Dallas also having to throw the football. And with the Green Bay pass rush, they will do things to protect Prescott the best they can. But that ball has got to be out quick. And so now it's not only Pickens, it's Turpin. These guys are going to have to win, on the outside. When you talk to Tolbert, going to have to win on the outside to make this happen. Flournoy, elevation of Cropper in this game. Probably some special team stuff involved there. But these Cowboys receivers are going to have to find a way to win on the outside. And that ball is going to be coming out quick.
Yeah, this Packers defense is the real deal, huh? I mean, they stop the run. Pass rush is crazy.
Well, people don't run it on them. They've only had 60 attempts against them this year. 60. That's the third least in the league right now. That they get in a situation where teams get behind and now have to throw the ball. That plays right into Green Bay's strength. They want to be able to rush the passer. They don't want to play the run. They want to rush the passer. And so, that's what's going to be really the key today is how much can you stay out of those long yardage situations. But as I mentioned, ball's got to be out quick today.
Yeah, and the Packers defense leads the league with only 2 passes of 20 or more yards given up just 15 points per game. And the problem, the Micah situation, everybody's talking about how do you slow down Micah? How do you slow down Micah? Of course, we know firsthand that's a very difficult thing to do.
How about Gary?
But exactly. If you're going to throw a bunch of doubles and triples at Micah to keep him from having the huge revenge game, all that does is open things up for the other guys on the Packers front to eat a little bit. So that's the problem you face. If you don't send doubles and triples at Micah, he will wreck you. And if you do, the Packers are good enough with the other guys there in that front to go ahead and take advantage of you as well. Yeah. So obvious passing downs are going to be a challenge here. How do you like the Cowboys' opportunity at running the football? It becomes more difficult without Booker, of course, and still no BB.
We mentioned that, too. How well will T.J. Bass and Steele be able to – how will they be able to kind of hang in there? Booker and Steele has struggled as a pass blocker, but my gosh, as a run blocker, him, Spanford, those guys have been getting some push off that right side. And
I'm glad you brought up Spanford. Don't we need to see more of him tonight?
Oh, I think
even in the passing game.
I think listen. Let's be real honest here. Every play that Micah Parsons is on the field, I am going after him, and I mean going after him in if it's a motion and a cut block, anything to make him have to slow up. You can cut him within the tackle box there. If he comes flying down that field, thinks he's got a shot, and you send somebody backside, and say you're running the ball to right, bring Span forward, bring Scooney, bring one of those guys back to him. Every time he needs to feel a chip, he needs to feel a low block, he needs to feel a double team, he needs to feel everything that you can. You can space him, all these things. Now, again, I mentioned on the other side is Gary, but I am not letting Micah Parsons. It's not that I don't think that Gary can't. Gary can handle things. Gary can rush the passer. The thing you worry about, though, is Parsons and how. But Parsons will also give it up in the running game. He made a big. They don't give up many big runs, but he jumped inside one time and then the ball went outside and then he gets pinned to the inside. Occasionally he will go and try and make one of those plays where all of a sudden he's chasing, and then he gets up the field and then the ball goes inside of him. And you got to take advantage of that when it happens.
Yes, absolutely. Now, defensively, the Cowboys get the return of Deron Bland at corner and then the debut of Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
How does that help things?
Well, Clowney, let's see. I mean, the thing, it couldn't be any worse than where they are right now with the situation. They're just not getting any kind of, sustained pressure. Quarterbacks are having way, way too much time to read the field and throw the football. Hopefully with the home crowd a little bit, maybe you could get some noise and then, get him off the football and then on these tackles. I mentioned this, the Packers are really struggling at their offensive tackle spot. At both tackles right now, with no Zach Tom playing, that's big. So let's see how they navigate that. But man, this is going to be a good opportunity if they in fact can get some pressure on these offensive tackles, and then also too, with we'll see what happens with Aaron Banks at guard and stuff like that. I didn't see the injury report yesterday. Sure looked and see if
he was doubtful.
Okay, if that's doubtful, then I assume that he is out right there. I did think I saw him doubtful, and I just didn't know if it was final. But anyway, here we are. This you've got to take advantage of this Packers offensive line if you can. When they've dealt with teams that have struggled with their offensive line play, They haven't. They've made offenses feel very, very comfortable the way they play.
Yeah, I mean the Giants game and last week versus the Bears, you felt like two offensive lines that could be had,
right?
And the Cowboys weren't able to really do much with it, especially when it comes to the edge rushing. Hopefully, Clowney can provide some of that. Hopefully, Eberflus has a little bit of blitz wrinkles up his sleeve a little bit, because you mentioned Jordan Love under pressure just last week versus the Browns. 45% of his dropbacks he was pressured. He went 4 of 9 for 17 yards.
Yeah, that's if Dallas somehow, some way found pressure, that could really turn this game into a way where they could be really competitive in it. Maybe get the Packers off the field maybe 1, 2, 3 more times than they thought they were.
Yeah, because when he was kept clean last week, Jordan Love versus the Browns.
The zone defense, he eats that zone defense stuff up.
14 of 16 for $166.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference. And right now, the Cowboys are 26th in pressure rate. So there's no way you can just do the same thing that you've been doing, like you said, the off coverage. Like, you need to be bumping and running on some of these guys and redirecting the wide receivers in their route. And this is like kind of a kitchen sink game as well. Like, just figure it out, man. Throw a bunch of different stuff out there, both sides of the ball. It
could not be any worse than you've been playing. If you play conservatively in this game, especially with the way the Packers are up front, then you know what? I have no sympathy for you right now. If you do, if you just want to sit there and play them straight up, rush for zone coverage and all that, you're going to get exactly what you deserve.
Yeah, and then looking at the Packers pass rush, 5th in the league in pressure rate. With Micah on the field, it goes up considerably. With Parsons on the field, the Packers have allowed 59% completion rate, 4.4 yards per pass attempt, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
He's been struggling with his back a little bit. If you watch the tape of the Cleveland game, there were a couple different times where he came off the field. You could tell that he got jolted, and that's why I'm saying I hit him every time. Chip blocks, anything, rib shots, whatever you have to do.
Body blows for 4 quarters.
You just have to. Don't let him be the reason why that Green Bay wins this game. Green Bay's got great players, don't get me wrong, but if you find a way to just disrupt his game, start, stop, start. Make him have to just hesitate a little bit for you there.
All right, we are just over 3 hours to kickoff here at AT&T Stadium, live in the Miller Lite West Plaza. Come see us if you're making it out to the game. Let's catch up with the Hall of Famer, Tony Dungy. He'll be on the broadcast for NBC Football Night in America pregame show, and we'll hear from Tyler Smith, all coming up next right here on The Fan. We're under 3 hours to kickoff now here at AT&T Stadium, getting you set for Cowboys Packers Sunday night football, and we'll catch up with NBC's Tony Dungy, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. Looking forward to that conversation here in just a few minutes. I'm Eric Chiafalo alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Mr. Bryan Broaddus, and right now it's time for today's player profile. Tyler Smith is hanging out in the locker room with the three-time Hall of Famer Chris Arnold, and here is that conversation.
Tyler Smith, it's the Green Bay game. Looking forward to this because a lot of people kind of circle this on the calendar because of one guy.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a great opportunity like any other game. I think it'll be a great game for us. Just establish who we are. Ultimately, continue on our journey to where we want to go.
Speaking of establishing yourselves, it seems like the one game has been established now. Everybody loves the way Javonte is running the ball. Can you talk about the run blocking and the pass protection you guys are doing? Because the run blocking seems to be there.
I mean, yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being consistent with it. I think, we have our keys, and Javonte is an extremely strong runner. I mean, he has, a lot of yards after contact, and I feel like if we just make his looks cleaner, he'll have more explosive plays, even though, we are having success. 2
weeks in a row, 2 big injuries. How is this offensive line going to overcome some of these ankle injuries and, of course, BB getting hurt too?
I mean, guys just got to step up. I mean, it's like any other position. When somebody goes down, guys got to, step up, and there can be no drop-off. So, yeah.
Can you talk about how you want to make sure you protect Dak? Since Micah said, that's what he likes to do, but he says, I don't want to feel like I have to hit Dak, but I will.
I mean, I think it's about being intentional in practice. I mean, it's like any other game, regardless of who it is or where it is. Like, we're always trying to protect Dak, and I think that's something that, we can do a better job of for sure.
Okay, you've gone against Micah in practice. You've gone against Micah in training camp. What are some of the tricks of the trade, the tips to tell the rest of the guys about watch out for him?
I mean, I just think the biggest thing is focusing on our fundamentals. You can't change your fundamentals because you're going against a certain player. So it's just like it's a matter of just honing in on the things we practice and just do the things that, we're coached to do.
And Green Bay's got like one of the number one defenses with getting pressure on the quarterback, so that's going to be a problem to all those guys, right?
I mean, all of them are extremely talented, like I said earlier. So I think this week is truly about being intentional in every opportunity we get to, get reps. I mean, against a front like that, you got to be on your keys. You got to understand your rusher. So it's just as much practice as it is studying and, knowing your opponent.
Well, I'll let you get out of here. Your locker right over here by Kenny Clark. Did he give you any tips on his boys, his former teammates, on what to how to deal with them?
Man, I ain't gonna. If he wants to, he can. I ain't gonna ask him to snitch or nothing like that.
Right.
Ultimately, I'm gonna watch tape and I'm gonna do what I do. So I'm not too worried.
All right. Good luck this evening, man.
Thank you, sir.
Tyler Smith.
All right, thank you, CA. Thank you, Tyler Smith. And that's today's player profile live here at AT&T Stadium. It's time to welcome in a Super Bowl champion as a player and as a head coach. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and, of course, he's a part of NBC's Sunday Night Football coverage. He's Tony Dungy, ladies and gentlemen. Tony, happy Sunday, man. Thank you so much for giving us some time.
Thank you. It's great to be here and looking forward to an exciting game tonight.
Likewise, man. We're fired up, and I know you got that defensive brain cooked up looking at this Cowboys defense. Can you give us any hopium that it's fixable?
Well, what I see, Matt Eberflus, he grew up kind of in my neighborhood. Monty Kiffin, those guys, Lovie Smith, the Tampa 2, and it's based on the front four dominating and guys playing very consistent, very solid, and aggressive in the back end. So far, they have not dominated up front. They haven't got the pass rush they needed. That's got to change. Either those front four, they've got to get it going tonight, or Matt's going to have to dial up some blitzes to get some pressure.
Coach, you talked about, that Stephen Jones kind of told us when they made the Micah Parsons trade that Flus can manufacture pressure. Well, you mentioned, Coach, yeah, you can.
Okay.
I mean, that's I didn't expect.
I can tell you how coaches you want to know
exactly,
how I manufacture pressure?
Yeah.
Derek Thomas, Chris Goldman, John Randall, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis. That's how you manufacture pressure.
Don't forget Simeon Rice too.
Simeon Rice, yes.
All that. But,
Warren Sapp.
Exactly. But when in the scheme with Coach Kiffin and stuff, and I was here with Coach Kiffin was here. How is that something that you almost have to come out of character with call-in defenses with blitzes and stuff when you do
Yes,
rely
it would
so
be.
much?
Yeah. Would be very much out of character. What Matt is used to is finding those guys that just play with energy and effort and emotion and hustle, and they've got talent and speed. It's built on speed, but you fly around. You don't do a lot. You don't scheme up a lot of things. We're going to play solid. We're going to play fundamentally sound, and we're going to be faster than you are. And at times, Dallas has been that way, but this year it hasn't been as consistent as they needed.
Coach, when you're dealing with, we're starting to hear like the whispers and stuff, and listen, we're just trying to kind of listen and hear things. But when you get a situation where they start to talk about communication, how does that work? Is that something that like maybe the lack of is that something you're maybe seeing a little bit on tape?
Well, a new system too, and what are you communicating? Who are you communicating to? If you've had corners who are used to playing man coverage and they don't have to get a lot of checks, well, now all of a sudden you're playing more zone and formations dictate what you're doing. You've got to know where your help is, those kind of things. It's just little small things playing together in the same system. That part will come. I do believe that will get better.
Coach, how tough is it to sort of pivot from sort of who you are as a defensive coordinator? You described Matt Eberflus, not a guy that wants to do too many crazy things schematically, but do you ever get to a point where you just say, hey, like we got to maybe throw out what our original plan was and get to something else?
Well, it's difficult if you're not ready for that. I mean, you come in to this Cowboys system and you're thinking all spring, I've got a great pass rusher. I've got that one dominant guy. I'm going to do what we do. Well, now all of a sudden you don't have him. If that trade had happened early in the offseason, now you think about, well, what do I have to do to create rush or to generate rush? But this is a little difficult, and I think Matt is going to have to come out of his comfort zone a little bit.
Coach, you're one of the best ever when it came to managing your club in the locker room and things like that. But when you're down players and some of your key players, what's the message from you during the week to the team about how to get ready and prepare for this game against Green Bay?
The message is, who are we? And we've got to get back to that. And we've got to play fundamentally sound. We've got to play hard. I was in here week 1, and Brian Schottenheimer talked about the culture he was trying to create here. And it looked like they were on track. And we saw them against Philadelphia. Hustle and play the whole game and play hard and run the football and be physically dominant up front. You just got to keep preaching that. Hey, guys, we're not changing that. That's what we've got to be. That's who we are. Let's get to Cowboys football.
Tony Dungy with us here on The Fan. They were talking about simplifying things defensively, the communication stuff, watering it down to just one-word calls. What does that even look like? How do you react to something like that?
Well, I am a proponent of that. When I played for Chuck Noll back in the day, back in the 70s, he used to tell us when things don't go well, we do less. We don't do more. We're going to do less and do it perfectly. And so I think that's what you have to get to. Hey, we'll cut down the number of defenses, cut down the number of calls. We've got to know exactly what we're doing. But now you guys have to play hard and play fast when you do know exactly what you're doing.
Coach, I'm sure that when you came in here the first time, you weren't really sure about the Cowboys' running game. It kind of looks like it's something that maybe that they can hang their hat on. How much do you see that involvement maybe tonight, even they're down a couple of offensive linemen?
I absolutely think they need that tonight. I think that's going to be the key. And Bryan told me when I was here before week 1, hey, we're going to do more with Dak under center. We're going to do more with 2 backs. And I think that's what they have to do tonight. Put that tight end on the left, put 2 guys in front of Micah Parsons, run the ball to the left with a lead blocker, and run Javonte and be strong and make it a downhill run game and see if Green Bay can handle that.
Coach, what do you see from this Packers defense? They seem like they're clicking.
They are. They're playing. We're doing exactly what we're talking about. They're playing fast. They're playing discipline. The defensive backs are expecting the ball to come out fast. They're kind of sitting down on routes, but they're saying you've got to go the long haul. And if we make you take 8-10 plays, one of our guys is going to create havoc and mess up the drive. And they're playing with great confidence right now.
What would you be telling your offense in terms of how to slow down a guy like Micah Parsons?
When we played against great pass rushers, you have to run at them. And you have to let them know, Micah, you're not going to be in a 2-point stance just teeing off all night. We're going to come at you. You've got to buckle up, and you're going to be going backwards a little bit because we're going to double team you and we're going to pound you, and it's not going to be an easy, fun game for you. That's the way they have to make it.
I love that. Now, it's Tony Dungy with us here on The Fan. Now, as a defensive head coach, how much involvement, how hands-on were you when it came to the offense? I know for many years it was obviously Peyton Manning, so he might have been trying to close the door on you a little bit. But, what is that like, defensive head coach and offensive input?
I was involved a little bit just on the philosophy. Hey, what are we going to do? Here's the type of game we're going to need. Here's where we can attack these guys. I remember one of the best lessons I got, and I would use it tonight. I was coaching for Denny Green. I was coaching the defense. We were playing Buffalo. And he came in and he told Bryan, who was our offensive coordinator, he said, if I see Bruce Smith single block one time on a pass play, you're fired. So, and that's all he said. I don't care what patterns you run, I don't care how you do it, but he's got to be double teamed on every pass. Warren Moon was our quarterback, and he audibled to a play, and Bruce got in there and hit Warren from behind, and Bryan just screamed on the headset, "It wasn't me, Denny. Warren audible. That wasn't me. That wasn't me." But that's the kind of, you just set the temperament. You don't have to call the plays. You don't have to design anything, but this is what we're going to do. So if I were coaching, even though I'm on defense tonight, I would say, hey, offense, this is what we're going to do. I want to see two backs. I want to see Dak. We want to pound that ball, and then we're going to get some play-action shots, one-on-ones down the field. George Pickens, you got to be a factor. You might only get 3 or 4. You got to make those big plays when we get them.
Coach, in a game like this, I'm going to ask you do you have to become like a Dan Campbell-like coach when it comes to decision-making, or is that out of character maybe for Brian Schottenheimer to maybe play this game like, hey, I can't really afford to punt right now? How do you go into that game working the sidelines?
I don't think it's that way. You make decisions based on the game, but what I would say is we've got to make this a low-scoring game. We're not going to get into a shootout and win it. And so punting may not be the worst thing in the world, but we've got to be aggressive, we've got to be smart, and we've got to take our chances when they're there, but play the field position, slow the game down, make it low-scoring. Don't turn it into a passing game back and forth. Make this a running game.
So, when you were a first-time head coach in Tampa, how long does it take, thinking about Schottenheimer right now, his first opportunity, how long does it take to sort of set the foundation, the culture, and really sort of find your footing and start to see those results?
I hope it doesn't take him as long as it took me. We were 1-8 my first 9 games, but we're still preaching the same things. And Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks and those guys told me, the thing about it, Coach, is you didn't change. Even though we weren't winning, you kept saying, this is how we're going to win, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to pound the football. We're going to play defense. We're going to hustle. We ended up going 5-2 the last 7 games of the year, and then we won the first 5 the next year and made the playoffs and turned things around. But it took half the season for the guys to really believe.
Hey, Coach, your old buddy Rick Gosselin would be really disappointed in the special teams play in the National Football League right now. How you coach these things. You're an attention to detail guy. This is kind of getting scary for some of these teams, the way special teams is going down.
And what I think the problem is, I don't think they practice enough in pads and practice enough in contact. So offense, you get your timing down, you 7-on-7, you run the routes and that. But special teams, you've got to block people. You've got to tackle. You've got to go full speed. And so when you see block punts and block field goals, to me, it's just like you haven't worked on it enough.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Dungy with us here on The Fan. Coach, I love your just general personality. You come across relatively mild-mannered. What was your approach when it comes to referees? Because I don't remember seeing you just rip into some of these guys, but every once in a while I'm yelling at my TV.
You know what? I used to say I'd try to kill them with kindness. Hey, you know what? That was a bad call. Some of these guys on this sideline, we might lose our jobs because of that. And I know you didn't do it on purpose, but you may cost some of us our jobs. Yeah. And the next time those guys think about it, and you might get the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
There you go, the mind games. I love it.
Hey, sir, they don't need your help over there. They're really a good football team we're playing today. They don't need any of your help today, for sure.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Coach, this has been a real pleasure for us. Thank you so much for giving us some time, and have a great broadcast tonight and enjoy the game.
I think it's going to be a great one, and I hope I see that from Dallas. I hope they come out and they're very physical. I think that's the way they can win it tonight.
I love it. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There he goes, Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Dungy with us here on the Cowboys pregame show.
Need him on your sidelines.
No kidding.
That guy, man, that was a big game coach right there, man.
Yeah.
You're right about his demeanor and stuff like that, but I just remember him. I had friends that worked for him in Tampa and in Indianapolis, just attention to detail, just that kind of guy. And that's tonight. That's what you're going to have to kind of need. You're going to need that attention to detail. He's right about the physicality from this defense, so it's got to show up for sure.
The creators of Buffalo bring you NFL casino games. Kick off with America's team on and off the reels with Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. We'll go inside the star with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt coming up here in just a few minutes. But diving into this matchup a little bit more here, Broadus, I'm feeling, it's hard to count on these edge rushers, of course, for the Cowboys. But the interior guys, this should be a pretty good opportunity for Osa, Kenny Clark, even Solomon Thomas.
Yeah.
These guys getting it done in the interior because that Packers offensive line is pretty banged up.
Yeah, let's see what happens, with Jordan Morgan, he's been playing, and if you follow the draft show and all the stuff that we do on 105.3 The Fan, we all really like Jordan Morgan. He was a tackle from Arizona, guard. He was drafted in the first round of the 2024 NFL draft. There were some questions. Is this guy a guard? Is he a tackle? Where does he need to play? I kind of felt like he was a tackle, but he's going to have to play. He's going to have to play some. It looks like some guard in this particular game, and they're down. Like I said, they're down a couple of different guys too. Anthony Belton was another guy that was a backup. I mentioned Zach Tom. He's out of this thing. Rasheed Walker is a guy that's he's the left tackle. And he's got a little bit of that Guyton to him where it's super tough, athletic, but kind of gets off balance, gets pushed to his side, has trouble with some power, can be run on in the inside. So, find a way to win on the edges, find a way to maybe take advantage of a young guy like Jordan Morgan, who the quickness, another good athlete, but the quickness inside is something that has given these Packers some problems. I know Sean Ryan has struggled with some slow-footedness as well. And then with Jenkins, the center, Jenkins has played all the spots. He's been a tackle, he's been a guard, now he's playing the center. He plays a little bit of a tall. He's kind of gets a little tall, so you can get underneath him a little bit. If you leave him uncovered, he's able to help over and do some of those things. I think you want to find a way to pressure him, where it's the twist games and things like that. Mm-hmm. Cleveland just got after them with their movement up front. And they were trying to pass those gap exchanges, and it just didn't work out for them. That's why they were giving up some pressure. Make this quarterback have to play, and we talked about it earlier, like the Russell Wilsons, the Jalen Hurts. Make them play backwards. Don't let them go towards the line of scrimmage. Keep the pressure on him and make him have to play backwards today.
Yeah, I mean, watching that Browns game, I mean, that Browns defensive line is obviously menacing in a way that the Cowboys just simply don't have the horses for.
Right.
But they also play like 50% man coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different style, and I wonder if Eberflus will try and take a page out of that Jim Schwartz book a little bit, like what the Browns did last week.
Yeah, that's the thing that, there was a lot of throws that he made in that game where he was going backwards, and he was having to go to the sides, and his feet weren't set off platform. We've seen some quarterbacks that have played when they get off platform. Caleb Williams was some of the best throws that Caleb Williams made last year was on just standing, being able to point the front foot and then launch that ball. You don't want to get this guy in one of those. You don't want him to feel comfortable in this football game. When he gets a little bit hurried, speed that clock up, the ball kind of comes out a little funny on him.
How impressed are you with, one, the Packers rushing attack with Josh Jacobs, and two, Matt LaFleur? Offensive-minded head coach, and he's been one of the more consistent ones in the league.
He's done it. I think it's his 7th season here in Green Bay now. He's done a nice job with that. The thing that's interesting about him is if you talk to defensive coordinators around the league, they really say his first 15 are some of his best plays. And then you get past the first 15, and now it's a little bit like, okay, well, they're trying to kind of figure some things out. Early in games, they could be really, really, really good. And then as the game wears on, then maybe you can kind of take advantage of some things. But that's like I say, just coming out of the blocks, they've done a really nice job. Dallas did a good job against the Bears last week. The Bears had some success. First drive of the game, held them to -3, got the punt. If it wasn't for the fumble, they were probably going in to get some points. But yeah, you if you get through the first 15 with Green Bay, then maybe you have a little bit better chance of kind of dealing with them as the game goes on.
Okay, so I know their tight ends are pretty legit. Tucker Kraft,
they're good.
They got like 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah, it's one of those things too with the tight ends, and it's funny because they do play 12 personnel with the 2 tight ends, and the one back, and then what they'll do is they'll delay these tight ends. So what happens is you feel like though that Tucker Kraft is blocking, like they're going to stay in and block, like almost max protect, and then they'll sneak him. They'll sneak him out, and so they'll be like the drop back, and then it's look, and then it's the check, and then go, and then the ball goes to him, and then it's run after catch. But they've got some guys, even Luke Musgrave, this John Fitzpatrick, they've got a couple of guys that can actually make plays down the field, run after catch.
Yeah. I mean, it's they don't have like that one guy at the receiver position yet. They drafted Matthew Golden, the rookie out of Texas.
Well, I thought he was going to be a star. So far, it's been a big learning curve for him.
Interesting. Well, we'll catch up with the voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee, and get the 411 on all things Packers coming up later on in the program. But it's time to go inside the star with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, as well as we crowned the Meat Church Menu of the Day champion. 877-881-1053. Text in what's on your Cowboys game day menu as we inch closer and closer to a Sunday night football kickoff. 2 hours and 37 minutes to go here at AT&T Stadium, and we're back with Bobby next here on The Fan. All right, with just over 2.5 hours to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Welcome into the official pregame show of America's team, live on the Miller Lite West Plaza, where the Packer green is just very, very apparent. Let's go inside the star with our Cowboys insider, Mr. Bobby Roberto Bell, because Bobby knows ball.
Yeah, he does. What's going on?
What's up, player? How you doing?
Dream each and every day.
Are you seeing the amount of green that I am, or am I just tripping right now?
Yeah, which, I mean, is that a surprise? I mean, we were talking about it this week. Every road game for Green Bay, Denver, San Francisco, Pittsburgh. Those are good traveling teams. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I said it during the week. I expected about 35-40% Packers fans. Looks like we might be a little over that, but yeah, that's what I would about expect, about 40% tonight.
You excited to see some Deron Bland, some Jadeveon Clowney?
I'm excited to see any defensive back who knows what they're supposed to be doing, and I think Deron Bland usually knows what he's supposed to be doing and knows where he's supposed to be, and so that excites me. That gets me excited right there. And then, yeah, I mean, Jadeveon Clowney just being able to get somebody else in here who knows how to rush the passer, knows how to, play the run, knows their responsibilities, knows about setting the edge. Like, those things are all positives right there. So, yeah, if you can get him out there even for 15 snaps or whatever it is that Stevens talked about, then, yeah, I think it should be good football, I would assume, from him.
Tony Dungy laughed at me about my create pressure, manufacture pressure question. Mm-hmm. He laughed.
What was the exact question?
He was talking about Eberflus. Eberflus is actually from the Rob Ryan tree initially, and then he became part of the.
He's got some blended concepts.
He's got some blended. So he went from wheels off, only have 10 guys on the field, to actually playing really buttoned up. But I was asking him the question, like, how do you manufacture pressure if you're so used to being a 4-man rush team and play zone? And he says he's going to have to play a little uncomfortable today. And I think he's going to have to play a lot uncomfortable today.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about one way you can manufacture pressure,
just don't trade a guy.
Well, or just maybe do what Mike Zimmer was famous for doing, which is creeper blitzes and sim pressures and things like that. You could do those if he wants to go with that. Now, the only thing I would say is, man, some of the ways you got to manufacture blitzes, that also requires communication. And I don't know how well everybody's communication is that you can throw all those things at it right now. But, it is something where they are going to probably have to get out of their comfort zone a little bit. Last week, Cleveland played significantly more too high shell against them than Dallas typically plays. Dallas plays majority cover 2, cover 3. That is what Jordan Love has destroyed all season.
Sure has.
So there's some aspects of this that you are going to have to just say, I can't just be so scheme committed or idealistic and committed to this. I'm going to have to commit to what's going to work tonight, and that'll probably require a little bit different of a game plan than he's used to.
Bobby Belt with us here on The Fan. What do you think is going to work offensively tonight? No Booker, no BB, and, of course, no CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that this is probably the next 4 weeks, and particularly tonight, you're going to have to run the ball. You've got 2 tackles right now who are not very good in pass protection. Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele have not been good, protecting the quarterback. But Steele, Guyton, they are doing well in the run game. Like, they've got moments. I mean, Steele more than Guyton, but even Guyton's got moments where he's really blowing guys off the ball and doing those sort of things. And so, for me, I think that Guyton, Steele, what you get in them, how good they are in the run game, I think you have to probably lean into the run game a little bit. You've had an effective run game this year. Take advantage of some of that. I think that it's tough to do some of the stuff passing the ball that you probably want to, even if you had CeeDee Lamb, just because I think their secondary's good. Green Bay, I think they've got playmakers back there, guys who take away the balls. I think their linebackers are really good.
Yeah.
I think those linebackers, McDuffie, Quay Walker, Edge Cooper, I think that's a really good group there. The thing that kind of surprised me about watching Green Bay this week was Rashawn Gary's a good player, things like that, but there are moments where if it's not Micah generating pressure, they're not always getting consistent pressure, which makes sense why they went and got him. But it's a team that last week in Cleveland, their first road game of the year, and I know this is not much of a road, or doesn't look like much of a road game for them tonight, but they had 8 penalties on third down last week. The Packers did. Yeah. I mean, and stuff like 3rd and 1.
Don't worry about that. Ron Tolbert's here to make up for that. He'll call the penalties on the home team.
3rd and 1 false start. You get 3rd and 4 illegal contact. Micah, you've got on that final drive him jumping off sides and giving a free 5 yards as they got closer to that game-winning field goal. So, this is a Packers team that's not without some level of flaws. I mean, I think they're one of the better teams in the NFL, but they have areas that you hopefully can take advantage of. But I think running the ball tonight has really got to be the focus for Dallas.
Okay, I love what you're talking about, running the ball. Concerned about its T.J. Bassett right guard, because we've seen Booker and we've also seen Steele be really good on that side with Span Ford over there. Do you worry a little bit about some drop off of not getting the push?
I mean, naturally, I think that's something that you would. It's clearly going to be an area where you step down. I will say, you do have Steele on that side. You do have Hoffman, who plays with some tenacity, plays with some nastiness. You hope bracketing Bass with those guys and the power that Bass.
I just worry about the push.
You hope
push.
that can develop something for you. I'll tell you this: the concerns that exist for me there are not as much as my concerns of no CeeDee Lamb and trusting Guyton and Steele to pass protect long enough for Dak Prescott to really do anything. So, to me, this is going to have to be a true, run the football type of game. Make them show that they can stop it. Not that they're leaky necessarily as a run defense, but really push them like, hey, we've had success with this. You guys show us you can stop it. We're not just going to drop back and get into a track meet with you guys, because if they get into a track meet, they're losing this game tonight to Green Bay.
Yeah. Tony Dungy was kind of saying a similar thing. Like, you want to slow this game down and grind it out a little bit. Hopefully the rushing attack can allow for that. Bobby Belt with us here on The Fan. Bob, we love talking ball with you, but right now you're in the mix on the Meat Church Menu of the Day champion. Welcome back.
Of course.
Welcome back. I've narrowed it down to two gentlemen. Of course, we have Robert and Carrollton, who has won 2 of 3 so far to start the season.
And was a finalist in the third, wasn't he?
He's an absolute. He's a total animal. And then you have Craig in the 229. Craig is going to be doing the bratwurst Meat Church style, just like the video that Matt Pittman sent out this last week.
with
Looked
the beer.
really good. Yeah,
the
with
beer
the
and the onions. Yeah.
And then our guy Rob is running with the smoked baby back ribs, some honey hog rub from Meat Church, alongside with some seared beef tips for the protein, baked beans, Cajun pasta salad, and homemade primo queso. Holy smokes!
I've seen so much. Have you seen the prices of meat these days? It's up. Robert's rolling.
He doesn't care.
He's rolling. Look at it.
Okay.
He's
keeping his wife happy.
Let's vote off this. Vote off the brats Meat Church way or the ribs Meat Church way.
Ribs. I'm not as big of a brats guy, so I'm naturally, and plus I think if you're talking about ribs versus brats, I think we are talking more kind of Texas versus Wisconsin, or just more kind of.
I'll tell you what, man, a good brat at a game is legendary.
But don't you feel like voting for the brats, you're voting for Green Bay a little bit? Ribs feels more Texas to me.
Oh no, I'm picking the Cowboys to win tonight, so I don't give a damn.
So yeah,
there
we're gonna vote. I'm voting for Rob this week.
There he is, Robert and Carrollton.
What a dynasty! 3 and 4 years.
3 and 4
weeks.
That is a dynasty.
Yeah,
though.
that's how you define it.
That's how you start the season. Bob, you're the man. Thanks for the time, brother.
I love you all.
Love you more. All right, whether you're a backyard griller, Cowboys tailgater, or Pitmaster Pro, Meat Church has everything you need. Visit meatchurch.com, your ultimate destination for the finest rubs, seasonings, and barbecue supplies. Matt Pittman and Meat Church, the official Pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys. We are now 2 hours and 23 minutes to kick off. Let's chat it up with Babe Laufenberg live here at AT&T Stadium next, right here on The Fan.
The big game is coming, and we're all wondering, have you gotten your Tyson Cowboys?
it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
This is the Dallas Cowboys pregame show, brought to you by
Bell Nunnally. Behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy. The official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods. Get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
All right, we are now under 2 hours and 20 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium, and the doors have opened. Cowboys Nation and a lot of Packer Green has infiltrated AT&T Stadium, where the roof will be open tonight. How about that, Broadus?
What's Micah's record with the roof open?
yeah. Let's see if he plays well with God watching down on him. We'll have to get those numbers for you. But right now, it's time to turn our attention to Babe Laufenberg, live in the booth right now at AT&T Stadium. Babe, happy game day to you, brother. How are you?
Good afternoon, and I'm sure there's some analytic feature on Next Gen Stats that will tell you what Micah's record is. Roof open, night game.
Yes. Absolutely.
We got it all now. We got it all at the tip of our fingers. Now, Babe, what are you thinking about Matt LaFleur and this Packers offense?
Well, they're good all the way around. Offense, defense. As a matter of fact, last year, I know everybody's saying Micah's going to put them over the top and all that. They were the only team in the NFL top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense last year. That was without Micah. But you talk about Matt LaFleur, I think he may be one of the more underrated coaches in the NFL. If you were to ask the average football fan, the NFL fan, I don't mean casual, but somebody that follows it, and said, hey, who are the top 5 to 10 coaches in the NFL? His name probably wouldn't be on the list, but it should. Over the last, he's been there 6 years, and then this is his 7th. In the first 6 years, he won more games in those first 6 years than all but George Seifert. And Seifert took over a Super Bowl team in San Francisco, the team that had won the Super Bowl in '88. He has just been really good. They've been in the playoffs 5 of his 6 years there. Anyway, he's exceptional, I think. And I don't want to say he doesn't get the credit, but I don't think if you said, give me the top 10 coaches in the NFL, he would be on the list, but he should be.
Babe, I think tonight in the broadcast you're going to say the Cowboys are going to have to go to a silent count to get the snap off tonight.
Why is that?
There's a lot of green in this place.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be a home game, maybe having to go some silent count,
Yeah, I always say 2 teams, to me, travel like none other.
Right.
One is Green Bay and the other is Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is going to be. All right, but speaking of silent counts, got to deal with the pass rush. It's just not Micah Parsons. How are we getting the ball out and how are we taking advantage? You're going to tell me about a screen game today. You're going to tell me about a draw game today. What else can we do to kind of get this ball out a little bit quicker than we need to?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I see a lot of wide receiver screens early on, get the ball out of his hands. Obviously, you've got 2 new starters on your offensive line. But, the interesting thing, too, T.J. Bass and Brock Hoffman. T.J. Bass will be starting at right guard, of course. Brock Hoffman at center. They worked a lot together in the preseason because they played the whole time.
They got the leather jackets. Yeah, they played a lot of snaps.
They did. They did. So there's not that unfamiliarity of putting in a guy that, they haven't worked together. So those 2, should be good. I'm a T.J. Bass fan. I think he's a solid player. He's had a number of starts now. I think he started 5 games over the last couple of years. And I think he'll do okay. And I think you touched on it earlier there, but the problem is not with the guard and the center, it's with the tackles. Because that's where you're going to get Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, for the most part, in the pass rush. And to the point of Green Bay's defense, they have allocated a lot of resources to that defense. Yeah. They have 3 first-round picks that they drafted in their front 4, and the other is Micah Parsons, who obviously they traded for and was a first-rounder. Their linebackers, you guys touched on it, they're outstanding. They can really run. Quay Walker out of Georgia, another first-round pick, really, really good player. He's a sideline-to-sideline guy. And there's not a weakness. They have stopped the run. The teams are averaging 3.2. I know it's a small sample size, 3 games, but teams can't run the ball on them, and they sure as heck haven't been able to throw the ball on them. So, Cowboys off. I mean, they have their work cut out for them tonight.
Baby, the thing that concerns me a little bit, and you mentioned it about, you're right about Bass and Hoffman working together. They played every snap in the preseason with that offensive line. The thing I worry about is how much are they going to lose with Steele and Bass on combo blocks because Steele and Booker, that right side, throws Span Ford in there. They've been getting some movement on that right side.
Yeah, Booker is a man, isn't he? I mean, I know he's the 12th pick in the draft, so he should be good. But, I mean, he's going to be mauling people for many, many years to come. But, yeah, I mean, and again, you know, this is a team. I think Schottenheimer is going to be a guy that's going to run the ball some.
Yes.
Every coach says we want to run the ball, we want to be physical, and on the second series, they're just throwing it all over the place.
I think down 7-0,
Yeah, I think he truly wants to establish a running team. They've got a physical back, obviously, in Javonte Williams. They want to play physical ball. Easier to do when you had Booker at right guard, but I think they've got to do that. They've got to be able to run the ball. And you don't have to, you don't have to make 8 yards a carry, every carry. But, you know, you got to be able to chip away with those 3, 4, 5-yard runs throughout the game, in my mind.
It's Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. Babe, how are we feeling about George Pickens taking over the wide receiver 1 role?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because everybody keeps talking about him being a wide receiver 1. They've got 2 1s. They really don't. And this is not a knock on George Pickens, so I don't want it to go to Twitter and, Babe just said.
His mom and dad are right in front of us right now.
Yeah, I'm getting ready.
Well, that's fine.
They're firing off a tweet right now, Babe.
No, yeah. No, but we're
going to clip you on this one, Babe. Get ready.
he is a solid number 2 receiver. And now what that means is he may be the 40th or 50th best receiver in the world. So that's pretty good. But I always go back to Kurt Schilling. Kurt Schilling was talking about an ace, and he said if you have to think about whether a guy is an ace in baseball, he's probably not. And because you're the best pitcher on your staff doesn't make you an ace. So he's not a great route runner, but there's nobody better at going up and getting the ball, contorting his body, high pointing the football, making those contested catches downfield. Nobody better than George Pickens.
How about drawing pass interference, too? That's another thing we need to think about today.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think he's drawn 3, maybe 4.
Him and Lamb have been, I think they're leading the league right now. So let's see. Ron Tolbert, that crew will call some penalties now. Get ready, baby. This is going to be a long night. We're going to have like an hour post-game show because of this crew.
I love it.
Penalties.
Well, and as you guys touched on, Green Bay had 14 penalties last week.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know they want to clean that up, but 5 of them were pre-snap. And as you know, nothing will make a coach more unhappy than pre-snap penalties, which, again, Green Bay had 5 of them last week. But, yeah, so, again, Pickens, you know, if they double him up, who are you going to go? Who are you going to throw the ball to?
Yep. No, this game's very well going to come down to Dallas. If they do have to throw the ball, can Tolbert and others get open? You know, Cropper, whoever lines up and takes snaps.
Terrible.
Right? Yeah. How many times can you win on the outside is where this game is going to hinge. Because that ball's going to have to come out quick.
Yeah, excuse me. I can see Turpin being a little bit more of a factor in this game with CD Lamb out.
Sure.
But you know, it's going to be tough sledding, no question.
Oh, yeah.
And the Packers, and I mean, they do not give up the big play. And when you watch them and you watch tape, you see why. You talk about how the Cowboys get run by in zone defense, how they have been, is kind of astonishing. It's a simple rule of thumb, right? Whether you got your 6th grade team or your junior high team or your high school team, safety is going to be deeper than the deepest man on the field. And the Packers do that. They've only given up 2 pass plays of 20 yards, which is unbelievable through 3 games in today's NFL.
Yeah.
But they're really good back there. They're going to make you throw it short, and they're going to come up and tackle. Everybody gets on the Cowboys, and I understand, playing all this zone. Packers are right up there. Not quite where the Cowboys are, but they're a huge zone team. They just want to keep everything in front of them.
Yeah, about 78% on that zone clip. But, Dave, they got defeated by Joe Flacco last week.
Come on, now, Babe. Come on,
Don't tell me about all this, babe.
Well,
tell me. Don't tell me about all this. Joe Flacco beat him last week.
Now, I think they held Cleveland to what, 202 yards or something? 230.
Yeah, we're trying
and they got beat.
about that.
They got beat by Flacco because Jordan Love threw the interception that Cleveland took to the 4. So from the 4-yard line, they punched it in. But you could have given Cleveland a month of Sundays. They weren't going to score. They were not going to drive the ball on Green Bay.
So, Babe, as you've studied, that was a great line, by the way.
Yeah,
a month of Sunday. That was damn good.
Yeah, that was quality.
Babe Laufenberg's in his bag here on a Cowboys game day. Now, as you studied this Packers team, have you just been getting flashbacks to that 2023 playoff game? I mean, be honest.
I haven't, but everyone else has. And I just, you keep hearing, reading, seeing, that game set them back forever. And it was one game. And these are professional athletes. They're professional coaches. You move on. Did that game linger with them for a week or two? Yeah, of course. It was the last game of the year, and it knocked you out of the playoffs. But, hey, half these guys weren't even involved in that game, right?
Yeah.
Half of these guys that are playing today were not out there on the field for this one.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. So when it comes to the way the Cowboys have been able to run the ball, would you, if it was up to you, would you see some Jaden Blue tonight?
No. No. Will we see him? Did you guys say? Is he going to be active?
I have a feeling he's not going to be active.
Yeah, okay. No word.
I think you're just throwing a Hail Mary.
Okay.
Right
yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I feel like it must be a pretty large indictment on what it is he's doing that they're not liking. The fact that he can't get on the field in a game like this, where without CeeDee Lamb, you need as many explosive weapons as you can, and in the return game and things like that as well. Like, I don't know. I just feel like Jaden Blue, he could. His skill set is something that they don't really have. Javonte Williams has been awesome, but I think the perfect complement to that would be a guy with Jaden Blue's skill set.
He's got a blitz pickup though too.
Yeah, I thought you knew something I didn't.
He's got to be able to do things other than be an explosive player. I think that's the thing that scares them right now. They're afraid to put him on the field.
The word that keeps coming up from Brian Schottenheimer in his press conference when Jaden Blue is mentioned is consistency. We just need a little more consistency out of him. So they're seeing him every day. They're seeing him in meetings. They're seeing him in practice. And I have a feeling that these coaches want to keep their jobs, so they want to play the guys that are going to let them win the game. And so clearly they have determined that Jaden Blue is not going to help us win the game more than Miles Sanders is, more than Javonte Williams, more than whoever else is up, on the active for the game than Jaden Blue.
How much do you expect from Jadeveon Clowney tonight making his debut?
Yeah, some. And, the funny thing is everybody kind of talks about the pass rush, but he's really here as a run defender. He's an older player. And the thing that I always wonder about guys like that, do they really want to play? I know Brian Schottenheimer said, I looked him in the eye, and this guy wants it. And I always think, okay, why weren't you at a camp? Why weren't you signed previously? You wait, you let training camp go by, and then you come in. Again, I don't know that to be a fact. The other part is, what is he now, 6 teams in 7 years or 6 and 6? No team has said, hey, you know what? I like what he's bringing to the table. Let's sign him again for next year, or let's give him a contract. So I think the notion that here comes the savior, we've just replaced Micah with Jadeveon Clowney, I think it's a little misguided.
It's the George Pickens and Jadeveon Clowney hater, Babe Laufenberg, with us here on The Fan. I'm just kidding, Babe.
I clipped that already. We got it out.
No, it's not
Babe Laufenberg.
And I want to make
Don't
it
worry about the trout
clear.
fishing stories. Just look at the clip stuff that we got here.
I want to make it perfectly clear. George Pickens is a good receiver.
No. We've already gone there.
But he's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson. So just because you lost your number one receiver doesn't mean, here comes a new number one.
Yep.
No, all very fair. Babe Laufenberg, you're the man. It's always a treat. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the game. Have a great call. We'll be listening.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There he goes, Babe Laufenberg. I love busting his chops a little bit.
Yeah.
He's such a sweetheart of a man, and he doesn't want to be pigeonholed into any sort of hater. That's not Babe. That's not who he is or what he does.
You don't care about that yourself.
No, you're right. Hey, the pregame show brought to you by Reliant. Reliant is proud to power the home of the Dallas Cowboys and the homes of Cowboys fans all across Texas. Reliant, the official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys, as we inch closer and closer to a Sunday night football kickoff here at AT&T Stadium. Just over 2 hours away now, so go ahead and prep that body. Let's see that menu as well, 877-881-1053. Let's go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee. He joins us next right here on The Fan. Okay, we'll go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee, coming up here in just a few minutes. We're under 2 hours to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team. I'm Eric Chiafalo alongside Super Bowl champion Mr. Bryan Broaddus. And, man, I'm taking a look at some of these scores around the league right now, Broaddus. Colts up on the Rams in the fourth quarter, 17-13. The Ravens got out to the early 7-3 lead in Arrowhead versus Kansas City. I don't know what's taken place, but the Chiefs are now up 27-10 early in the second half. So Mahomes.
Yeah, one of those teams is going to be what, 1-3?
3 touchdowns for Mahomes. Yeah, one of those teams is going to be 1-3. Absolutely. Pretty crazy world we're living in right now. Xavier Worthy making his return. 5 catches, 83 yards. Big plays. That's what they need him for. That Chiefs offense has just been in dire need of some explosiveness. Dating back to last year, still don't have Rashee Rice, of course. It'll be big getting him back, but Xavier Worthy getting banged up in that first game versus the Chargers with the friendly fire there from Travis Kelce. That's hampered their offense a little bit, but Mahomes 18 of 28, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Xavier Worthy, again, 5 catches, 83 yards, so he's getting it done. Bears up on the Raiders, 16-14 there early in the third quarter as well. You got the Jags up on the Niners. So that's the afternoon slate around the NFL right now. That's a heck of a situation there for the Chiefs, dude. I can't wait to figure out how this has unfolded, but that Ravens defense has been an absolute disaster.
It has been. It's been a big problem for them.
You had the Lions beating the Browns today in big-time fashion. Patriots beating the Panthers in big-time fashion. Eagles over the Bucks. Texans just absolutely dominating the Titans. Did you see the quote from the number 1 overall pick, rookie quarterback for the Titans, Mr. Cam Ward? He was
asked, poorly coached.
No, he
running game Moses' son not doing a very good job over there.
Old Callahan's definitely on the hot seat.
Yeah,
but no, he was asked about just the loss in general, and he says, "quote If we keep it a buck, we ass."
Yeah,
I mean, how about that for just straight to the point?
Yeah.
Straight to the point. All right, now it's time to go inside the booth and go behind enemy lines and welcome in our next guest.
2nd and 10, Detroit. Detroit 35. Goff takes the snap, rolls right out of the pocket, chased from behind by Parsons.
Yes!
And a sack! Micah Parsons registers the sack back at the 31-yard line. And the Parsons project is underway in Green Bay.
Oh, I got to be honest, that absolutely makes me sick. Are you kidding me? I'm about to vomit now as we welcome in the voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee. Wayne, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Oh, we've been better. I'm looking at a lot of cheese heads. I'm seeing yellow Hulk fists on Packers fans right now. It is we're a little bit down bad, Wayne, but it's great to chat with you, man. This is going to be a fun one tonight for sure. Can you help yourself but to come into this stadium and have Super Bowl flashbacks?
Oh, absolutely. And, we've had in this building, the Packers, the Packers have had great success here. They've never lost in this building since it opened, and that included that Super Bowl win over Pittsburgh, which we all remember. But there was also a memorable, I want to say 2013, John Kuhn, who's on our broadcast team now, was talking about the fact they were down like 28-3 at halftime, and Matt Flynn brought them back to beat the Cowboys in a nail-biter down the stretch. So there are just a lot of things about this building that have been good for the Packers. But who knows? This is a new day.
Wayne, okay, the Cowboys kind of in a bad way right now. Packers last week, unfortunate loss for them in Cleveland. Didn't expect that. Kind of talk about, though, the condition of your offensive line today and how the pieces are going to have to move around for you guys.
Yeah, there's some issues on that offensive line. They're not going to have Zach Tom, their best offensive lineman. They're not going to have Aaron Banks, the left guard they acquired from San Francisco in free agency. Those are 2 big losses on this line. So Jordan Morgan will play at left guard. Kennard will play at right tackle. And he's a guy they picked up late in camp, but he's a veteran guy. He's an experienced guy. And at least they've had their line together this week to get ready for this game. So they knew what the story was, and it's going to be a challenge, there's no doubt, because, everybody's focused on Micah Parsons, but the other end of that deal a month ago was Kenny Clark. And I know Kenny Clark really well. I know how he can dominate inside when he makes a mind up to do it, and he's a very talented player, but he's also a great guy. He's a great person in that locker room, and the Cowboys probably got better in that regard.
Oh, for sure. He's been a nice addition, no doubt, especially when it comes to the run game. The Cowboys' run defense has looked better than it has in past years, and a lot of that is thanks to Kenny Clark, so we certainly appreciate that. Speaking of the rushing attack, where do things stand with the way the Packers are running the ball right now?
Yeah. This is a big problem. This is 3 weeks going in. They have not run the football anywhere close to the way they ran it a year ago. Josh Jacobs has been hit behind the line on most of his rushing attempts. Out of his 180 yards rushing, I believe 169 of them have come after contact. So they're not getting the job done in the trenches in the ground game. And part of it's because they face loaded boxes about 80% of the time, 8 or more men in the box, and teams are daring them to throw the football. Cleveland dominated up front in that ball game. Cleveland's defensive line completely dominated the Green Bay offensive line. And what's more, not only did they shut down the run, the Packers couldn't protect Jordan Love, and he was sacked a career-high 5 times in that game. So this is going to be interesting tonight. The Packers want to get the ground game going, but the Dallas Cowboys, as you guys know better than I do, have struggled against the pass and to pressure quarterbacks.
Yeah, that has been a big problem for them. I want to go back with the offense here, though, a little bit, Wayne. And we really did love Matthew Golden, as we do a lot of work here on our station with the draft and stuff, and him being a University of Texas player. Packers not a great history of drafting first-round wide receivers. Learning curve been a little steeper than maybe everybody thought for him in Green Bay?
I wouldn't say that. No, I think it's just that the opportunity hasn't come up.
Sure.
He hasn't had as many opportunities. They've got a lot of guys in that receiving core, and he's kind of finding his way a little bit. But, I got to tell you guys, number one, there's no question you can see it on the practice field, how he runs and, the 4.29 speed.
Beautiful.
That's obvious.
Yeah. Beautiful.
But what I didn't realize is he's very good in and out of his cuts. He's a very good route runner, and he has the best hands on this team. Now, the Packers are among the league leaders in drop passes a year ago. They've been very good this year, but Matthew Golden was drafted in part because he had the best hands in the draft. That's part of the reason why the Packers picked him. Golden has been, and I asked Jordan Love about this during training camp, I said, is he a little more polished than most rookie receivers that come in here? And he admitted he was. Golden is a polished receiver, and I think he's just starting to make his way, guys. You'll hear from him before this year is out.
Behind enemy lines with the voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee here on
By the way,
Fan.
guys, can you tell me, where is Klein, Texas? Because that's where Matthew's from. Klein, Texas, is it anywhere near the Metroplex or anything?
No,
it's
south. It's down around Houston, I believe.
Oh, is it down around Houston? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I think Klein Forest and all that.
Yeah, probably about a 3.5 hour drive from here, I would say.
Yeah, that's heading south from here. Yeah.
Now, elsewhere in this Packers passing attack, Tucker Kraft has really bursted onto the scene from the tight end position. I know he got banged up in practice a couple of weeks ago. Still played last week versus the Browns. Where is he at physically? And is he, where does he rank in terms of the go-to guys in this Packers passing attack?
Guys, he's emerging as a blue-chip player at the tight end position. He does all of the things that the George Kittles and some of the great tight ends in this league do. He's an excellent blocker, although he missed the block on special teams, late insertion onto the line, and special teams last week in Cleveland that got a field goal block. But he's a good blocker. He's an excellent receiver, runs great routes. The quarterback trusts him. He has very good hands, and he's explosive after the catch. He doesn't have the 4.3 speed that people would knock your eyes out, but he's plenty fast enough, and he plays a lot faster than 8 times. He's a guy who's emerging as one of the blue-chip players, and he has to continue to emerge that way because this team needs more blue-chip players, and he can be one of those.
Wayne, I'm really not surprised that the success that Jeff Hafley has had as the defensive coordinator. Just kind of talk about him, and you've got to get to know him and what he's done for you guys as that DC.
Oh, he's an awesome guy, number one. But number two, he's very good. You know, he left Boston College. We had a discussion last year when he first got to Green Bay, and he said, you know, I just want to coach. That's why I'm here. I just want to coach. The college game for a head coach, and he was the head coach of Boston College, is so much about other things besides football and coaching young people. It's all the fundraising and all the other stuff you've got to do in the media stuff and everything. He just wants to coach, and he came in, did a heck of a job bringing that defense along last year. And this year, they've taken another step. And, of course, Micah Parsons is a big part of that. But they're developing a nice defense at Green Bay. It starts with stopping the run, and they've been among the best in the league at doing that so far this season.
Wayne, were you surprised that Bryan Gutekunst traded for Micah Parsons?
Yeah, I was. I would have to say, only not that Bryan wouldn't pull the trigger on the deal. I never thought Dallas would give him up. So we're hearing all this internet stuff, and I said, well, that's just a bunch of nonsense. I mean, you know, how many times you look at Facebook and they report somebody died, and the guy's still up and around and doing pretty well, matter of fact. But so I just thought it was a bunch of BS. And then when I heard about the deal that Friday afternoon or whenever it was, Thursday, I believe it was, on the 28th, I said, oh, my gosh, they pulled it off. But I wasn't surprised that Bryan pulled the trigger. Why? Well, because he was about to pull the trigger on Khalil Mack in 2018 when the Bears got him from the Raiders. And the Raiders, the Packers had a deal all set up, but the Raiders felt the Bears' draft choices would be better, higher than the Packers' draft choices. And they were wrong, because Khalil Mack went to the Bears. They won 12 games and won the division, and the Packers' draft choice would have been better. But he was close to pulling that deal off. So when this happened, I said, no, I'm not surprised he did it. I'm surprised Jerry and the Cowboys traded a talent like Micah Parsons.
Yeah, same here, Wayne. Voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrabee, with us here on The Fan. So walk us through it. What has the Micah experience been like?
You know, he's been great. He's come in. He's trying to connect with his teammates in the locker room. From what I hear, that's going very well. You know, Kenny Clark was a big part of that locker room. He was a leader on this team. He's not yet 30 years old, but he was a leader and a great veteran on that defensive front. Mike is coming in, and that's kind of there's a little bit of a void there that I think he'll eventually fill. But, you know, I tell you what, the Parsons effect has not been his numbers, but it's been the fact that Rashawn Gary now leads the NFL in sacks.
Yeah.
Been the fact that the Packers pressure the quarterback among the league leaders in the league because the other people are so much better when Mike is on the field. Now, understand he's only played about 63% of the snaps as they work him into shape. But as this season goes along, if he stays healthy, he'll have a major impact, not only his numbers, but everyone else around him as well.
Do you imagine the snap count goes up for Micah on a night like tonight?
I think it might. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Jeff Hafley about that. I would think that it would. It's gone up each of the last couple of weeks, so I'm sure Micah's in better shape as we go on further into the season, and I would imagine this snap count might go up.
Wayne, we heard the call earlier. Are you an Alan Parsons Project fan or just a fan of 70s British rock?
Well, I'm a product of the 70s. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, me too.
Not that we want to admit that, but
no, heck no.
You know, when I said that line, I didn't think about it. Then I said, "Oh my gosh, I just dated myself here."
It was very creative on your part. You've had some wonderful calls through your career.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, Wayne, you lose Kenny Clark, but it seems like they don't miss a beat there on the interior of that defensive line. Who do we need to know about that the Packers got running out there tonight?
Colby Wooden's a guy who's come along in the last couple of years. He's kind of a protege of Kenny Clark's, and he and Carl Brooks. Brooks will rush the passer a little bit more in the interior, but Wooden is a guy, number 96, who's gained about 30 pounds since he was a rookie, and he's put on. It's been good weight that he's put on, and he's a little more of an anchor against the run. They've been okay in this regard, but I'll tell you what, guys, watch the linebackers. You know, when you look at their linebackers, the speed they have, and they get in there to cover up those holes in that defensive front. Edgerrin Cooper, he is one guy to keep an eye on, number 56. Quay Walker is really having his best season so far. So those are guys to watch for in that defensive front seven.
Can you walk us through what's gone wrong with these special teams units here for the Packers? Because as we try to cling to some Cowboy victory hope tonight, we're looking at the special teams as maybe a place where we could make some hay.
First off, right now they've got 2 rookies returning punts and kicks. Keyshawn Nixon, who was an all-pro returner a few years ago, is now the starting cornerback and their lead cornerback. So they don't want to put him back there on punts or kickoffs if they don't have to. So they've worked Matthew Golden in it as a punt returner. And I just read the other day, he never returned punts or kicks in college or high school. So this is an interesting thing. Meanwhile, Savion Williams, rookie wide receiver, is the kick returner now. Big kid, kind of like Cordero Patterson. Remember him from a few years ago?
Yes.
He's kind of built along those lines physically, and he has that kind of explosiveness to him. So he's doing that. But guys, it's been perplexing. The organization brought in the coaching staff. Matt LaFleur brought in Rich Bisaccia, well-known, excellent special teams coach. The front office in the last 3 years, guys, and I think this is what you have to do if you're going to have good special teams. They've invested in special teams players. And what do I mean? There are about 4 or 5 guys outside of the snapper, punter, and kicker who are on this roster, on the 53-man, because primarily they play special teams. They cover kicks and punts. And, they've done that. They've invested in that. Brian Gutekunst has done a great job in that. And yet we still haven't seen really the rewards of all that effort. Hopefully he'll start here tonight.
Wayne, to the left of me is a fellow Super Bowl champion. He'll bust out his Super Bowl ring from time to time. What is Wayne Larravee's Super Bowl ring strategy? How often does it see the light of day?
Well, I used to wear it on my right hand, but now I've got arthritis in my right ring finger and it won't fit. So
no.
I need him to win another one so I can get a bigger ring to fit my. I would put it on my left hand, but I'm married, and my wife kind of looks at me cross-eyed when I do that. So.
Yeah, mine would too. I get that. All right, Wayne, we'll let you out of here on this hard-hitting question. Power rank these Wisconsin staples. You have the coldest of beers, you have the cheese curds, and you have those famous brats. How does Wayne Larravee power rank them?
Okay, the cold beer, number 1, the brats, number 2. And I'm not a big cheese curd guy, but my daughter-in-law, my son's wife is, my daughter-in-law. She's a big cheese curd person, so I would have to put those 3.
I love it. Wayne, you're the man. We appreciate the time. It was a real treat. Enjoy the game tonight. I would say good luck, but I'd be lying. You know that.
I don't mind if you lie. I mean,
Well, then good luck tonight, Wayne.
Go to confession at the end of the week, but please.
Thanks,
guys.
Wayne.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you. All the best.
Heck yeah, there he goes, voice of the Packers, Wayne Larravee here on the pregame show, brought to you by United Healthcare. United Healthcare is the proud official healthcare partner of the Dallas Cowboys, bringing you coverage you can count on to Cowboys territory. Learn more at uhc.com. All right, look at this, an hour and 40 minutes to kick off. Let's go inside of AT&T Stadium and get the scoop from the best in the business. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales joins us next right here on The Fan.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
Totally. They have some talent.
Yup, some great talent.
And they got some fight.
Hoping this is the year.
Me too. Oh, I'm Cody, by the way.
I'm Travis.
Nice to meet you.
the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Tonight's game between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium is brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Welcome into the official pregame show of America's team. Just over 90 minutes to kick off. Let's go inside of AT&T Stadium and get the scoop from Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales. Christy, happy game day. How you doing?
Eric, extra energy tonight. I mean, it's always fun when it's prime time and Sunday night football and everyone's a little extra lubricated from all of the extra time tailgating, but definitely extra energy tonight. And as you've been noting throughout the pregame, all of the green jerseys, green and gold you see outside, they are making their way inside the stadium now.
Yeah, it's a packed out crowd tonight for sure. Now, Christy, what's the plan at cornerback tonight? You get Bland returning, but then you had Diggs missing some practice time this week. How do they play that?
Yeah, well, with Deron Bland missing the last 2 weeks with a foot injury, they have a count of around 40 plays or so that they would like. What they're going to do is leave Reddy Stewart on the inside, okay, and have him play in the nickel. And then on the outside, as you say, Diggs is ramping back in with that sore knee, and he also dinged his shoulder last week, but mainly it's the knee with Trayvon Diggs. So on the outside, you have Kaiir Elam, you'll have Deron Bland, and then you'll have Trayvon Diggs working in. So really it'll be a rotation of 3 guys on the outside, with Stewart taking the majority of the work on the inside in the nickel slot.
Scoop, any surprises on your inactives tonight?
Yeah, one is that Damone Clark at linebacker, who had such a good training camp and getting a lot of playing time the first 3 weeks of the season, is inactive. Coach's decision. So Shamar James will make his regular season debut for the Cowboys. Obviously, he's the rookie from Florida who's been coach's decision inactive the first 3 weeks, but they did like him in camp, made some good plays in preseason. And he's a guy who's just been showing out in practice, and they want to give him a chance to get some playing time. And Damone Clark is a real key guy on special teams, but Shamar James can take those reps there at special teams. So look for Shamar James to make his debut tonight in place of Damone Clark.
Wow, how about that? All right.
Yeah, and that changes green dots, by the way, because usually with the green dot helmets that take the play call on defense, of course, Kenneth Murray is the main guy with that. Sanborn is one of the backup green dot guys, and Damone Clark has been also a backup green dot player, but with him inactive, Maris Leafau will be the second backup in terms of relaying calls if it comes to that defensively.
Christy, we talked about Bland and maybe some things with him, Diggs. But what about Clowney? With him making us, being active tonight, any things that we need to know about him?
Yeah, more like 20 to 30 range. I'm told that it's not like a real hard count with him, but they do expect him to play quite a bit tonight. And he's a veteran, and he knows his body well, so they are counting on him to communicate, right, if he feels like he's tightening up or anything like that. But he's going to be a big part of the rotation tonight. Pass rush and defense, defensive end. He can play the run as well, of course. I don't want to pigeonhole him as a pass rusher. But they're going to be smart about it tonight as he makes his Cowboy debut. Of course, last week he was on the 53-man roster, but he was a game day inactive simply because he had not had any kind of padded practice and just such a short ramp up. But you will see Clowney playing tonight wearing number 42. He said he chose number 42. He didn't have a lot of choices when it came to jersey numbers, but it's like, hey, that's Jackie Robinson's number. So I think I'll go with 42. So if he makes a sack or a big play tonight, don't be surprised if he points up to the sky and pretends like he's throwing a baseball up there to Jackie Robinson.
I love that. Christy Scales with us here on The Fan. When he looks up into the sky, he will be seeing the actual heavens, won't he? We're going to have the roof open tonight.
Yes, and it's a surprise because everyone was told, it's closed, and all the things that you see behind the scenes that we have for game day, roof closed and doors closed. Well, they opened the roof at about 4:20, and it's just a beautiful night, perfect weather. The doors are closed, however. So this is the 17th 9th season that we are at AT&T Stadium. I know that's hard to believe. We've been here 17 seasons already. This will be only the 9th time that we've had this configuration of the roof open and doors closed, and hopefully it goes a little better than the first 8 times, because the Cowboys' record with this configuration is 2-6.
Okay, so that means Micah Parsons is 2-6. No, he hasn't been a part of all of them, right?
He hasn't been part of all of them.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Christy, listen, I know, did you get a chance to talk to my best friend, Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coach? He hates me, Christy.
He asked how you were doing and wishes you all the best.
No, he did not.
Yeah, I do. I have a great relationship with Coach Bisaccia, and I wanted to ask him, what is the deal with all of these blocked kicks recently? And his theory is that there's just so much change in the offensive line, and the blocking that, and it's not just injuries at offensive line, but personnel year to year. He's like, before I even had these injuries, I had 3 different guys on the offensive line that I had to change out, for the field goals and extra points. And you see through the league that, and also some of the guys are a little bit smaller that are blocking, and on defense, on the rush, trying to get the blocks, you've got the big guys, the Jordan Davises of the world, who are not only big but athletic and can get that penetration, back towards the holder and everything. So he thinks that it's mainly just some of the changes along the offensive line. And then, all the changes with the Cowboys offensive line tonight, forget about special teams, but oh my gosh, 2 changes with your starting lineup and Micah Parsons. And I think it's going to be real interesting, the matchups tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Christy, what do you know about the way that Micah is being deployed by these Packers?
Yeah, I was asking about that during the week, and so they've been giving him it's only 3 games, obviously, with Micah, but they've been giving him more each week. Last week, they were giving him more mugging right over the middle, where he would pass rush up the interior. But then, remember at that point in the game, I know you guys watched the film against Cleveland, he took that rib shot, got that hit, and you could tell it got him. Yeah, and so once that happened, they put him back outside. They didn't want him going, with all the extra blockers there in the middle, and they moved him back to the outside. So I think whether he does a lot of that tonight will probably depend how things are with the ribs. But obviously they're giving him more and more and more each week as they learn how to use him, and as he gets more acclimated to his teammates and with the defensive scheme.
Christy, you're the best in the business. We appreciate the time and all the info, and we look forward to catching up with you again next hour.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. There she goes. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales here on your pregame show, live in the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium. What do you think, Broadus? I mean, you got the roof open, no Damone Clark, insert Shamar James, the rookie.
Why not?
Do you like that?
Yeah, why not? I mean, listen, the linebacking situation has not been great. They've struggled with one of the things that James could actually do, and probably will play a lot more special teams than maybe, than defensive snaps. But at Florida, man, this guy was a good pass rusher. Like his
there you go.
You didn't want to put him in much coverage, and he wasn't like the most instinctive guy.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to blitzing and getting after the quarterback at Florida, this guy did a pretty darn good job. So maybe they got some plans for him to do that. They've rushed Clark a couple of different times, and Clark just hadn't gotten.
I love it. We need all the pass rush we can get. All right, we are under 90 minutes to kick off. Let's hear from Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer. We'll go into the owner's box with Jerry Jones, and of course, more Super Bowl winning analysis from the great Brian Broaddus. That's next right here on The Fan.
Dallas Cowboys Radio Network is on the air.
Deep fade, left corner of the end zone, 1-for-1. Caught the ball. Touchdown. Touchdown, Cowboys.
With Brad Schaub, Babe Loffenberg, Christy Scales, Eric Chiafalo, and Bryan Broaddus. Brought to you by
AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
Also brought to you by
Bell Nunnally, behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods, get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiafalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, we're an hour and 20 minutes to kick off here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team, live here at AT&T Stadium, the Miller Lite West Plaza, where there's a lot more Packer green than I wanted to see, a lot more cheeseheads, Broaddus. But we're here with the roof open tonight. Week 4 installment, Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a lot of fun. Micah revenge game. Plenty to get into here as we go ahead and break it down. I'm Eric Chiafalo alongside the Super Bowl champion Bryan Broaddus. And Broaddus, let's preview this bad boy. Brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Also brought to you by SeatGeek. The Packers off a loss to the Browns last week. How does that happen? How can the Cowboys duplicate what the Browns did?
Yeah, can you find a way to bring that Cleveland Brown defense here to Dallas and play this game tonight? Because it was about the pressure. They were able to affect Jordan Love in a lot of different ways. The Packers struggled with their offensive line play. They got some injuries very early in that football game, so there was a lot of shuffling around. We'll see how the line configures tonight. Wayne Larrabee was talking about maybe some guys having to move around, but they're a little bit compromised, and the Browns were able to get after them. The Browns were able to get enough pressure on Love, and they did enough of it to where they allowed their offense to come back into the game, and they were able to block a kick, get the ball back, and kick a game-winning field goal. So it's going to be about the pass rush on the defensive side of the ball, but on the offense, it's going to be about with Pickens and these wide receivers, no CeeDee Lamb. How quick can these Dallas receivers win against these the Green Bay secondary? If all of a sudden they're getting jammed at the line or they're or getting rerouted and stuff, and Dak's having to hold the football, this is going to be a very long night for the Dallas offense.
Yeah, both teams dealing with makeshift offensive lines. No Beebe and no Booker on the Cowboys offensive line. So you have Brock Hoffman making his second start of the season at center, and then you'll have TJ Bassett right guard in for the rookie Tyler Booker, and then of course no CeeDee Lamb as well. So this is a shoddy earn your money game if you're asking me, and then this is just a don't get punked game. We all remember what happened the last time the Packers were in town, the dreadful 2023 playoff loss. Can you show some fight today? Can you stay in this game into the fourth quarter, all three phases, with the Packers struggling on special teams a little bit? So how would you approach things offensively? We'll start there with the Cowboys. Trying to run the football obviously has to be a big priority.
Well, immediately you're talking about maybe shortening the game, but shorten the game is, that's shortening the game means also too that you're trying to run a lot of plays. And the one thing the Cowboys have struggled with in the past has been penalties. And we talk about, the official night, Ron Tolbert. He is a guy that tends to call holding penalties. Dallas will drive the ball, Dallas will move the ball, and then all of a sudden there's a holding penalty, whether it's Steele or maybe Guyton. You never know what's going to happen with TJ Bass in there now at guard. Those are the things. Dallas can run the ball and be effective, but it's that penalty that takes them back that is the killer here. And so if they're going to run the ball, they're going to have to stay ahead of the chains. They're also going to have to stay out of the officials' line of sight when it comes to these calls. These officials, I am worried tonight about this officiating crew, really for both teams, because I feel like this is a guy that everything is a ticky-tack play. Don't let you play very much. Both teams could be driving the ball, then all of a sudden penalties set them back with this crew.
Yeah, we don't want that. Now the Packers got dinged with quite a few penalties last week.
Yeah.
So maybe that can work in your favor at times. But the loss of Tyler Booker, we know how big of a loss CeeDee Lamb is.
Hurts a lot.
But Tyler Booker's been playing his tail off, hadn't he?
Yeah, it hurts a lot because him and Steele in the running game have been really good, and then also, kick in their span forward. How quickly can Steele and Bass work together to get movement? Some of the games they've been able to do, they've been able to run counter plays, they've been able to pull, they've been able to get Smith in space to the front side. So you get a down block by Span Ford, you get a double to the linebacker. These Packer linebackers, when you talk about, with Walker and then Cooper, they get to the football. So you just can't leave these guys unblocked, or there's going to be some problems in that running game.
So when you look at the passing attack, no CeeDee Lamb, of course, all eyes on George Pickens. Time for him to earn his money a little bit. Who else could you see stepping up here? I know Kevontae Turpin, shout out to him, by the way, last week, taking a big shot there on the sidelines in Chicago, hanging on to it. He's been a bright spot for sure. But who else in the passing game? They're trying to get Ferguson involved quite a bit. We saw that last week. It felt like every play they were trying to throw him the football. Span Ford, could we see a little bit more of him?
You're going to get, you get quite a bit of cover 3 against this against this from this Packer defense. So cover 3, that's going to be the single high safety with the corners. Look for some vertical routes. Maybe, last week you saw Turpin, they were able to take a couple of hole shots where they got between the corner and the safety. So now with the single high safety, is that safety going to shade to the side of, say, Pickens, and can everybody else win on the opposite side? So that's going to be about Tolbert. That's going to be about Turpin, as you mentioned, and also some Jake Ferguson as well.
All right, what's the approach to trying to slow down Micah Parsons in this Packer pass rush? This Packers defense legit.
Yeah, I'm going to chip him. I'm going to space him. I'm going to, every chance I get, if I have to cut him, if he's on the right side or the left side of the offense and we're running the ball to the right, I'm bringing blockers back to him to make sure that he doesn't have free runs. I'm not going to let him chase the ball from the backside, and I'm going to cut him. I'm going to make him play. He's a little bit nicked up. I saw in the game against Cleveland, he was dealing with the back. Christie talked about the ribs. He was having to come out some plays. I am not letting Micah Parsons have a breath in this game. Every play that he plays, he will have either a single blocker, a blocker coming back on him, a double team block, a chip block, whatever I have to do to kind of keep him at bay, maybe wear him out a little bit in this game.
It's a small sample, but we already have the on-off splits for Micah and the impact that he has for this Packers defense. They give up under 60% completion rate and only 4.5 yards per pass attempt, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions when Micah's on the field. And when he's off the field, 77 completion percentage. They give up almost 6 yards per attempt and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions when he's off the field. So he's obviously their main guy when it comes to getting after the passer. But what else do you like about this Packers defense?
Well, I'll tell you what, though, they don't have big names playing in the secondary. That's one of the things that you first off notice. I mean, like the most noticeable guy really is Xavier McKinney, but Nixon has been really good. Hobbs has been good. Bullard has played as the nickel in this scheme, and like I mentioned, they're really, really good. Their 4-man rush is outstanding. They're going to play cloud coverage on you. That means that you're going to play with the corner is going to play back. The safety is going to play down. That just kind of give you a little bit different look. They're going to Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, would not be surprised if he tries to throw some muddy looks at Dak Prescott and make him have to make some throws that he doesn't read correctly with the way the defense is playing.
Now, on the flip side, you mentioned trying to pressure Jordan Love. Only completed 4 of 9 for 17 yards last week versus the Browns when he was pressured. He was pressured almost 50% of the time. Totally different quarterback when he's under pressure. You get Clowney back tonight.
Yeah.
Any confidence that versus this banged-up Packers offensive line, you can get a little push?
I say it every week. We break down on our shows like, hey, opponent's offense, they're down these 3 guys. When have they taken advantage of a group? Cleveland took advantage. Cleveland's got some skill rushers, no question about it. The tackles are good. The edges are good. The thing that you do is you have to find a way to get after this quarterback. And, that's the Cowboys just haven't been able to do that. There's been a lot of rushes that have gone down the middle of defenders. They haven't won with first step quickness. With this crowd, can the crowd kind of help with some noise to maybe get them off the ball? But they have just not gained any ground, any direction with any first step at all.
And obviously one of the big reasons why the Cowboys lack pass rush is because they traded Micah Parsons to these Green Bay Packers. We had the Pro Football Hall of Famer, NBC's Tony Dungy, on a little bit earlier in the pregame show, and you were bringing up the idea that Stephen Jones was talking about Matt Eberflus, Cowboys defensive coordinator, being able to manufacture pressure without Micah. Listen to Tony's reaction here.
Coach, you talked about, that Stephen Jones kind of told us when they made the Micah Parsons trade that Flus can manufacture pressure. Well, you mentioned, Coach, yeah. You can,
okay.
I mean, I didn't expect.
I can tell you how coaches, and you want to know
exactly,
how I manufacture pressure?
Yeah.
Derek Thomas,
yeah,
Chris
exactly.
Dolman, John Randall, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis. That's how you manufacture pressure.
Don't forget Simeon Rice, too.
Simeon Rice, yes.
All that. But,
Warren Sapp.
How about that? The Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Dungy laughing you off the stage with the idea that you can manufacture pass rush without an ace.
I had to ask the question because the assistant owner or the owner of this team came out and said they can manufacture pressure.
Yep.
And that's when they made the trade. They have yet to manufacture pressure. I'm so happy that Tony Dungy did that to me, though.
That was great.
I really am. I mean,
he's right.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong about what they have to do. I'm going to say this. Dallas on defense is going to have to play an uncomfortable game tonight. He's going to have to do some things that he is not comfortable with, whether it's man coverage, blitzing, clogging cover, rush 3, drop 8. He's going to have to do some things to make this quarterback feel the pressure, and it's going to be man coverage. All these things are going to have to play into this game today.
On the sidelines for tonight on NBC, it'll be Melissa Stark, and she joined the KNC Masterpiece on the flagship 105.3 The Fan earlier this week, and she had a couple of things to say about the matchup. First one, though, as a sideline reporter, you get that quick halftime interview with a coach. Melissa, do you still get a little bit nervous asking those quick halftime questions to coaches?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that, and I'm glad you did, because I'm however many years into my career. I started on Monday Night Football when I was 26, so 25 years ago. So I still get, that's why I know the players get it. I mean, I still get that adrenaline and that your heart gets racing, and you don't have the coach can be super angry, as you're going into the half, or some kind of a turnover just happened right before you talk to him, or they wanted me. I knew I had to ask about Travis Kelce getting into it with Andy Reid, and I know the PR staff did not want me to ask that. So it's like it's this whole behind the scenes thing of that definitely gets your heart racing, and I definitely take none of it for granted. It's electric, and there's so much energy, especially a night game under the lights, and everyone's watching, and it's prime time, and I hope that never goes away. I don't think it will.
I respect her honesty with that answer there, because I would say that's one of the most unenviable positions to be in all of sports media.
Get jerk coaches.
They don't want to say anything to you.
Don't want to say a thing. Yep.
All right, here's more, Melissa. Are some of the Cowboys players still upset with the Micah trade?
For sure. I mean, I would say Trayvon would be the most. I mean, Trayvon talks to him every day, and Trayvon, said not only are we losing an incredible football player, but I was crushed. I'm losing my best friend, who he loved from day one. He just thought he had the it factor, which he does. And Trayvon said, I saw a lot of myself in him. And so, I mean, I think the fans are so dialed in to the competition and the game and who wins and everything, but they forget that there's really a personal aspect to all of this. I mean, you see when coaches get fired, right? And fans are, say good riddance. But to all of this, that's families moving. There's a lot. It's lifestyle changes. It's everything. It's a lot. It's not just part of the business. You forget that these are real human beings, right? When it comes down to it.
Yeah, that's the nature of it, man. And you hear guys like Dak Prescott, leader of the football team, hey, the closure was there the day the trade got done. For other guys, especially a guy like Trayvon Diggs, who was best friends with Micah Parsons, that probably takes a little bit more time to overcome something like that. Now, speaking of the corners, we are going to get, for like the 5th time in 3 seasons, a Diggs-Bland starting secondary for the Cowboys. This is rarefied air, but it was Melissa Stark on the Cowboys flagship 105.3 The Fan earlier this week with the KNC Masterpiece breaking that Bland news.
Well, yesterday I did talk to Deron Bland, so there you go. He's going to play, obviously, for sure. I'll check back in with him before, but, I think he thinks, even though he's a soft-spoken guy, he's taken over, right, as a leader on this team, and I think he thinks, it's just a couple communication issues here and there, and that him coming back will make a massive difference, and I'm sure Cowboys fans obviously hope the same.
Massive difference with Bland back in the lineup. It certainly can't get worse with this Cowboys secondary. What does that do for this Cowboys defense, Broadus?
Well, I'll tell you what, though. The last time that this group did play together was opening night against Philadelphia. So that's kind of like, if you could get that kind of that same thing. Now, The one thing is, though, Stewart is taken over as the nickel, so they probably are a little bit more comfortable of with him having to deal with running all over the field. Maybe they just want Bland to handle the routes at him on the outside and not have to deal and put any more stress on him when it comes to the with the coverage playing out of the nickel. So that means Elam. Now listen, this is what I would think about with Elam. I would think about this. If you're in a situation and maybe play some dime, and this is probably going to be out of Eberflus's wheelhouse, but here we go. Tucker Kraft, maybe you treat him like a wide receiver. Maybe you take Elam and put him on. This is where Jordan Lewis used to be a stud. When whoever your best tight end was, he used to go out and every once in a while go play a little bit against your stud tight end. I wouldn't be opposed at all of if Elam's not in, go ahead and put him on a guy like Tucker Kraft. They're going to delay, and they're going to release him. Make sure that's a big, Elam's a bigger guy, and maybe he can handle that kind of coverage against Kraft.
I love that. That's the Super Bowl winning analysis that we love here on the official pregame show of America's team. Just over 60 minutes to kick off here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, live at AT&T Stadium. Let's hear from the head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, for tonight's Coach's Corner. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. All right, we're under an hour to kickoff here at AT&T Stadium. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team live here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. We'll go into the owner's box with Jerry Jones coming up here in a few minutes, but right now it's time for tonight's Coach's Corner. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by with Dallas Cowboys head coach Bryan Schottenheimer. Brad, take it away, sir.
All right, fellas, thanks. The bright lights are on, and the Green Bay Packers are in town, and so I think perhaps we should start with the elephant in the room. How do you block Micah Parsons?
You send a lot of people at him. You change it up different ways. Brad, I laugh. I really do, just because, look, we know Mike is a great player, and he's shown that the first couple weeks. But, more than anything, I'm going to be really nice to him in pregame, so maybe he decides to take it easy on us. I doubt he will, but it's not a one-man job. We'll have a lot of focus on him, but he's an incredible player. So,
as you said earlier in the week, the guy on the other end is not a one-man job either. And some people might want to say he's off to a great start partly because Mike is there. That might be true, but he might be off to a great start because that's just the player that he is. What kind of difficulties or, I guess an optimist would say, opportunities does that present you when you got two guys like that?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, Rashawn Gary's been a terrific player from the time he was a number one rated player coming out of high school, going to Michigan, and a high draft pick with talent and size and speed. And, he's a terrific talent in his own right. So, again, as much as you want to try to take away Micah Parsons, when you have Rashawn to worry about, the team speed that they have at linebacker with Cooper, with Walker, I mean, this is a damn good defense and really a damn good football team. And we have to play well tonight to win. And I think if we do protect the football, that gives us our best chance, and that's an area that we've been focusing on because we haven't, quite frankly, been good enough at it, and shouldn't be at -4 3 games into the season.
Micah aside, it feels like, and it feels like the league feels like, the playoff game a couple of years ago kind of launched them, and it certainly launched the quarterback in terms of the way people thought about him. So you were studying the defense most of the time. Then now you're looking at maybe both sides a little bit more. How do they, in your mind, compare to the team that you took the field 2 years ago thinking you were going to play in the playoffs?
Well, the biggest thing I see is the development of Jordan. I mean, Jordan is mastering what Matt LaFleur and the Packers want to do, and I mean, you see that very clearly. I mean, you see him getting from his first progression to second to third progressions and delivering the ball with confidence and taking what the defense gives him when he's getting certain coverages. I think that's the biggest change that you see. They present a lot of problems with their shifts and motions that they do. That's not abnormal. I mean, most teams are doing that now. We do that on offense, but they've got weapons, they've got speed. The Matthew Golden, pick was a really good pick because of the speed that he has. And then I love Jacobs, the runner. I think he's a terrific talent and strong, powerful guy, hard to get on the ground. And so I would say the biggest thing that jumps out from a couple years ago is the development of Jordan Love.
Regarding your defense, and particularly the way the pass defense has gone the last couple of weeks, this is neither a criticism or a second guess. It's an honest question, and it's fueled partly by conversations I read and hear other teams having about other aspects of their own games. Is there anything to rethinking how you used players in the preseason? When you have a new system and a new coordinator, do some of the guys in your defense suffer in September from an absence of time on task when they don't play at all in the preseason?
I don't think so. I think, honestly, I will give you an honest opinion. I really don't think so. The fact that we didn't play our starters in the preseason doesn't mean that we shouldn't make some simple calls that we haven't made. Last game, we go up and we press a guy on 3rd and 8, and we shouldn't be doing that, and we slip and the guy gets behind us. That's got nothing to do with playing in the preseason. It's just our execution as a football team, and certainly in the pass coverage element of our defense has not been good enough. And so things that we're doing to make it better, we're simplifying some things. We're tightening up the ship a little bit. We've been actually meeting together with these guys, and had a great meeting with them on Friday, kind of the last dress rehearsal, and just to hear the communication as a coach, that gives you confidence going into the game. Now, that being said, Brad, it's got to carry over to the game, and with the noise and the fans and things like that, we have to be on our nonverbal signals and communication as well.
By the way, not that anybody cares, but I would be doing preseason exactly like you did. It's just too risky. But it's an interesting point when things are not going well. The meeting thing, and you mentioned that on Monday. People who have not played, maybe they envision a business meeting or a sales meeting or something. When you say that you've changed the meetings a little bit and doing more things together, can you be any more specific or detailed about what that means?
Yeah, basically, you get, let's say we're watching all the passes together for the defense. So basically you have the linebackers in there, they're sitting in a group, right? You've got the corners in the room, they're sitting in a group. You've got the safeties in a room, they're sitting in a group. And basically we make the calls, the coaching staff, and then they start close right, close left. I won't use all the calls, but R and L terms to tell you which way the safety's coming down. And when there's shifts and motions, they have to make new calls. And if these guys don't talk in the meetings, then how do we expect them to talk on the field? It just doesn't work that way. You have to be willing to talk in the meeting when it's a very relaxed and comfortable environment, as opposed to when there's 75,000 screaming fans. There's a lot of distractions and things like that, and so it's been great for me and very confident for me is to watch these guys and hear them call it. And we've always said this: whether you're all right or you're all wrong, if you're doing the same thing, you're going to be okay. It's when one guy goes right and one guy thinks you're going left. That's a formula for disaster. And so, again, very good meetings, but again, talk is cheap, and we have to show that out there on the field tonight.
One of the oldest axioms in evaluating and I think coaching this sport is things are never quite as good or as bad as they seem. So what was good last week?
Yeah, I mean, our run defense was excellent last week. I think we really did a really good job of stopping the run. DeAndre Swift's a really good player. I think, when you look at us as a whole, we took some really good shots on the ball. We just didn't get the ball out, but the punches were there. I think that's really good. And, our play style is going to show up. I mean, our guys are going to play hard. They're going to run to the ball. But at the end of the day, it's about finding ways to win games. And when you turn the ball over and you don't get takeaways, that's not very good. And when you can't get off the field on third down, and we struggled offensively to convert third downs, then you're going to put yourself behind the eight ball. But there's always things, and that's why, again, you're guaranteed 17 rounds and 17 title fights. And right now we're getting ready to go into the fourth round, and there's a lot of football left to be played.
Not much time left. I'm just going to ask you about a couple of guys. Deron Bland, how much of him do you expect to have tonight?
Yeah, I think you'll see Deron play. I believe he's having he's had a good week of practice, and we'll be smart. There'll be a pitch count, but you'll see him out there. He's excited about it and wants to get back out there with his brothers.
No one has taken up any collections for injured players. The Packers are missing a couple of their guys. Come on down, TJ Bass. He started, I think, 3 or 5 games over his first couple of years. What do you see in him? What do you like about him?
Very talented guy. Here's a guy that played tackle at Oregon. Really, he's got the athleticism to do that. He's very strong. His lower body strength and ability to move people is great, so that fits us really well in the run game. And then, again, the thing we've done is we've built up some depth. And, again, all of a sudden you lose a couple guys, and the next thing you know, you're like, man, but you plug in a Brock Hoffman who's been here. You plug in a TJ Bass who's been here. There's confidence from the coaching staff, and there's confidence from Dak. And I think that goes a long way into him feeling comfortable and firm off his back foot and things like that.
Which gives me the opportunity to be, I'm going to bet, the first person to ask you about Trevor Keegan, who you picked up from the Eagles beginning of the season. Nobody knows it. He's a really interesting young man. I've talked to him a couple of times. How ready is he, having only been here a few weeks, to jump in? Because I'm guessing he's your top inside option now.
Yeah, again, Trevor's done a great job. There's a reason we claimed him. There's a reason we added him to the 53. We see the talent. We see the ability. Young player, really a center guard flex like you talked about, where he can cover 3 spots for us on the inside. There's certainly things that he still is learning, but the cool thing about when you come in in the early part of the season like this is you basically just learn each week. So he's been here a couple weeks now. So install one, he's kind of got that from game 1, 2, 3, and then now he's heard enough to where he's kind of like, okay, this is starting to make a little bit of sense. But there's certainly things he doesn't know. But our line does a great job communicating. If need be, they'll help him out.
30 seconds left. It always amazes me how fragile confidence can be at this level. These are all great players. Things don't go well. Now confidence goes away. What do you see in the confidence department from your team?
Yeah, I don't worry about confidence with our guys. I think our guys in general, they understand that there's going to be adversity. Adversity is not over with, whether it's tonight, whether it's week 10, week 15, whatever. There's going to be adversity, and you know what? That's what life is. And all we told these guys, here's what we need. We just need you to be the best version of yourself, give you everything you got. Our prep this week has been very, very good. That should lead to confidence.
Lights, camera, action. Have fun.
All right, man, we will. Thanks.
All right, fellas, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad Sham. The Coach's Corner brought to you by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys, live here in the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium. Brian Broaddus, it's time for a Zebra Report.
Yeah, we've been talking about Ron Torbert earlier, just like things you need to worry about. He's officiated 3 games this year, and there's officials ahead of him that have refereed 4 games now, and he's still in the top 5. That just tells you where you're at right now.
He gets flag happy.
Penalty yards, 151, 179, 150 the last 3 weeks. The thing you need to worry about him is 34 calls against the home team, only 20 against the visitors. His number one, as a crew, the number one thing that they call is offensive holding. You've worried about Micah Parsons all these years, never getting a holding call. Well, get ready. This might be the game that we see some holding calls, maybe on both ends of things. False start would be their next one. That's a pre-snap. Defensive pass interference comes in third. So, maybe it could be a situation, ball going down the field. We've seen that with Pickens, his ability to make those plays. A special teams penalty is a legal block above the waist. That's a top 4 for him. That's a special teams penalty. And then the delay of game would be the 5th one. Need to watch that right now. Here we got a guy that's a clock watcher. That affected the Cowboys, if you remember, against the Giants.
Yes.
Right before the half, they got in a situation to go for it or punt it or try something. Well, they got the delay of game penalty, and then they couldn't go for it after that. So got another one of these clock watchers. Those are the top 5. Ron Torbert, he's going to – this offensive holding stuff worries me, especially with a team like the Packers that has probably the better of the 2 defensive lines.
Yeah, their pass rush is legit for sure. We'll see if the Cowboys can slow down Micah Parsons and company, but thank you for that Zebra Report. Definitely going to be something to watch for tonight. Plenty of flags could be at hand here at AT&T Stadium. All right, we are 43 minutes to kick off, and let's go ahead and go inside the owner's box with Jerry Jones, and we'll hear from the playmaker himself, Michael Irvin. That's all coming up next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Pregame Show, brought to you by
Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Here's Eric Giafalo and Bryan Broaddus.
Under 40 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Cowboys, Packers, Sunday Night Football, a Micah revenge game, a shoddy earn-your-money game. Let's see what the owner and general manager has to say about it. Jerry Jones in the owner's box with Christy Scales. Christy, take it away.
Jerry, there has been so much hype entering this Packers-Cowboys primetime game with Micah's homecoming. Now that we're moments from kickoff, how are you feeling?
Well, I feel like that the build-up had to do with trading or Micah. And tonight, the biggest thing we've got to worry about is that team, the Green Bay team. They're outstanding. Their quarterback is the biggest threat we probably have faced. They're solid all the way across. Of course, we think a lot of Micah as well. This is the kind of win that if we can make this happen, and it is possible for us to do, and it is, then this is the kind of win that people will always remember. And thanks to everything that's gone on around it during the off season and during the first month of the season, it's a big game.
Micah said all the right things during the week in terms of this being the homecoming, and it's all about getting a win, and that's your point is getting a win. But do you think he'll have a little extra oomph and incentive?
I don't. Well, I worry about it. Really, I'm more worried about their quarterback, and I'm more worried about some of those linebackers. You know, we've got our great tackle, and I think he and Micah are going to be co-captain out there. But seriously, that is not for us to worry about. We've got a lot more things to worry about.
And one of them is the production of C.D. Lamb, who'll miss the game with an ankle injury. And I know that there's not a one-for-one. You can't replace an all-pro with a single player. What should we expect with the passing attack tonight?
That's one you ought to worry about more than Micah. That's one you ought to worry about just as much. Or you ought to worry about the fact we don't have him as much as you do their quarterback. There's so many ways for this team to have success tonight that when we play well, and I think we could play well, if we play well, it could be a great night for the Dallas Cowboys.
And I know you're looking for better pass defense because there have been a lot of chunk plays surrendered, but you got Deron Bland tonight, and then, of course, Trayvon Diggs ramping back up to enter. So how do you see the pass defense rebounding tonight?
Well, I think there's a lot of emphasis when we're in zone. We've got to limit. The reason to be in zone is to have short passes, not long passes. I think we've addressed that, and that still means that we're going to have some passes made, and this quarterback's going to do it. But if we keep them in the shorter range, then we'll be able to get our stops, and that's the way the defense was meant to be played.
We appreciate it, Jerry. Thanks so much. That's the view from the owner's box as we continue counting down to Cowboys and Packers in prime time. Let's rejoin Eric and Bryan.
Thank you, Christy. The owner's box brought to you by Yeti, the official cooler of the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. There's old Jerry kind of downplaying the Micah stuff. He's more worried about the linebackers. More worried about the linebackers.
Sure.
They are good linebackers.
They got good linebackers. You should be worried. He's worried about the quarterback, and, I'd be worried about the quarterback, too.
He is good.
If, in fact, you can't get pressure on him. That's what I would worry about the quarterback on.
Right.
And they've got some skill guys and that are, especially at tight end. I think there's something that how does Dallas navigate that? And I keep saying this, and I know I think it's worth repeating. I think Matt Eberflus has to play an uncomfortable game tonight, and I think he's going to have to do something that's a little bit out of character for him. And if it means that they have to play some coverages different, they have to bring some different blitz packages, and has to take some chances, this offensive line is there for the taking if, in fact, they can get some things going.
No question about it. They're super banged up as well. I mean, both offensive lines are.
They've got guys that are, mixed match kind of a group right now. Now they've had a whole week to practice and kind of they got against the Browns last week. It was a little bit more difficult. The Commanders got after them pretty good. If Dallas is going to win this game, it's going to come down to their ability to rush the passer and Dallas's ability for the receivers to win on the outside. That's where this game is going to hinge.
No question. Speaking of receivers, let's hear from the playmaker here on the official pregame show of America's Team, brought to you by Arrow Exterminators, the official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Christy Scales caught up with the legendary Hall of Fame wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys, the playmaker, Michael Irvin.
Michael, so much hype this game. I know when the schedule came out, you were looking forward to see Micah Parsons, but I'm sure you had no idea he'd be wearing the green and gold.
Well, I don't think many people in the stadium had any inkling that would have happened. Just let a player like that for some reason get away. So, yeah, we're all shocked. But it's almost sadly becomes numbing. I mean, after Luka, then you get Michael Parsons. Those are two of the greatest young players in their respective sport. And, yeah, we got hit pretty hard this year.
Micah has tried to downplay it. I think he's saying all the right things and being politically correct, but what do you think he's really feeling in terms of this homecoming and any feelings of avenging whatever he thought of how it ended here?
Well, revenge is a strong word, especially when you walked away with a couple $100 million. You don't feel like you need to get revenge. You felt like God has just blessed you. But now, this is home, and the one thing when I first met Michael at that draft, I was one of the first guys to meet him. One thing he said is, I'm going to be just like you. He said, I'm going to play for Dallas, and I'm going to win championships. I'm going to do TV and all of that stuff. And he wanted to do it here. So, that's sad that it didn't happen, didn't work out. So, now I hope he has a great career. I just don't want him to do great things here in Dallas, even though they've been doing great things. We need to beat them here. This will be our first time if we can get the win. The first time, get a win here in this stadium with Michael on the other team. That'll really soothe some of the pain that Cowboys Nation had to endure this season. It'll really, really cover that little hole in the heart right now.
I have to ask you, as a number 88, I know you can't replace the production of CeeDee Lamb, who's such a integral part of this offense, but what do you think the offense is going to try and do tonight in the passing attack without number 88?
This makes it very difficult for us. And, I'm on record saying I don't understand why we put our best player in the backfield and hand him the football to have to go up against 300-pounders. I'd rather leave him out wide, moving out, motion out, running routes, where the guys that are landing on him are only 190 to 200 pounds, you see. But I can't even go out on that whim. I'm going to just let that go. But it's difficult for us to come out here and move the ball like we want to without CeeDee Lamb. He's that great of a player. But it's an opportunity here for guys like George Pickens. George Pickens, this is your time. He said he's the number one receiver. Everybody thinks he has number one talent. Now you're going to get all the number one opportunities, seal the deal, and prove to everybody to give you your bag and bring you your money.
We appreciate it, Michael. Thanks so much. We continue counting down to Packers and Cowboys in primetime. Let's rejoin Eric and Bryan.
Thank you, Christy. Gosh, I love hearing from the playmaker. I mean, if I'm shoddy, I'm grabbing him over, probably giving the whole pregame speech, but certainly have a little one-on-one with George Pickens.
He does. He gives the pregame.
That's true. They throw him up on the Jumbotron, no doubt.
It'd be nice if the team would listen to him one day.
Good call.
Play it that way.
Well, Cowboys fans, please listen to me. If you're making your way out to the game tonight, you are definitely going to want to try the incredible item of the night here at AT&T Stadium, brought to you by Legends Hospitality.
That was a good bite today.
Try the birria quesadilla. Yeah. This is a quesadilla situation, and it's absolutely dominant. Slow-cooked beef, marinated in Mexican spices, creamy pepper jack, and Oaxaca cheeses, grilled in a huge 17-inch flour tortilla, served with savory birria consomme.
Yep, consomme.
Yeah. That consomme is the real deal.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's got a little kick to it.
Well,
so make sure you can handle a little bit of spice.
Just the brisket part of it is spicy itself. You don't even need the consommé for that thing.
Freaking unbelievable.
It is. Make sure you get you a big Miller Lite or a Pepsi or something to go along with it.
Amen.
Because you're going to need it. Your mouth's going to be on fire.
Absolutely incredible.
It's excellent.
All right, here we go. Under 30 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. kickoff here at AT&T Stadium. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys and Packers. The return of Micah Parsons, about to go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. But let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves along the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
And now we welcome in Brad Sham, voice of the Cowboys, brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Brad, how we doing?
We're doing well. How's everything out there on the lawn with the tent and the people?
I'll tell you what, man. We've seen a lot of Packer green tonight, Brad. A lot of cheeseheads.
I think there's going to be a presence, as we say.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Well, what are you seeing with this Packers team? Let's look at their defense. I know we obviously want to talk about Micah plenty, but the rest of this defense is pretty dang impressive.
Yeah, if they didn't have him, they'd still be one of the best defenses in the league. It's actually the other end, Rashawn Gary, who leads the league in sacks. I know you guys have talked about that. Van Ness is a tremendous player. I think they have kind of taken the opposite approach to the Cowboys, who have obviously spent a lot of resources, financial and in the draft on offense. And they've done more on defense. Quay Walker is a phenomenal player, a first-round pick. Edgerrin Cooper, a high second-round pick, tremendous player. And I mentioned Gary, and Van Ness would start for anybody else. Xavier McKinney is an all-pro safety, and they are really good, and their scheme is great. Their defensive coordinator will be one of the hottest tickets to be a head coach in the league next year. So this will not be easy, and then you can throw Parsons into the mix.
Brad, on the other end of it, though, here is a Packer offensive line that's in a little bit of some disarray, and I say that from guys having to move around spots. This would be a nice night to be able to kind of get your pass rush going again, don't you think?
I think it's one of the things that makes the outcome uncertain, Brian, and the short answer to your question is yes.
Yeah.
They're missing 3 offensive linemen, 2 starters, and the number 1 backup. So now the Cowboys understand what that feels like. But if the Cowboys' defensive line had given us any reason for optimism, then we would be practically giddy at the notion of facing that bunch. But they haven't. And so that's the interesting battle to me. Can they finally put some consistent pressure on the quarterback, who is good, mobile? He will definitely hurt you running. He will not do it the same way that Hurts or I think even Caleb Williams can. But that if they have a weakness at the moment, that's probably it, and it dovetails perfectly with one of the Cowboys' biggest weaknesses. So I don't know how you solve that problem.
You get the Clowney debut tonight, Brad. Does that help the pass rush more or the run game, you think?
I think whatever he does well will be fine. I don't think he's the pass rusher, Eric, that everybody thought he was when he came out of South Carolina, was the number 1 pick in the draft by the Texans. He was supposed to be, Bruce Smith or something like that, and he never was. And he's really a very good run player, but anything he can do to add a little pressure and to teach Ezeraku how to move his advancement along, those are pluses.
Brad, I kind of feel like that Matt Eberflus might have to play uncomfortable tonight. Just me looking at it. Maybe there's going to be some things differently as far as maybe a little bit more man, maybe some slot blitz, where you kind of where Matt is right now, and maybe what he has to do in this one.
Well, if he hadn't been uncomfortable the last 3 weeks, I don't know what it will take. But I do know that their plan coming in is to take the 3 outside corners, Diggs, Elam, and Bland. Remember, Bland is by nature an outside corner, a border corner, not a slot guy. It's just what he happened to do when he came in because Jordan Lewis was hurt. Those 3 guys are going to be in a bit of a rotation because Bland is on something of a pitch count. Diggs will not be in the starting lineup, we're told. It'll be Elam and Bland, but then Diggs should work his way in there. And then the question is, at some point, Bryan, will he blitz Eberflus more than he wants to, and because he doesn't like to do that? But they've got to make the quarterback uncomfortable somehow.
Brad, what's the approach offensively tonight? You got a couple of backups on the offensive line. No CeeDee Lamb. Do you think George Pickens is ready to be that guy?
Oh, well, I mean, in terms of talent, Pickens is a number one receiver. There's no doubt about that. It's a good thing they've got him. It'll be interesting to see how they approach the absence of Lamb. Will they use Turpin more? Will they go more to Tolbert? Will they give Flanoy an opportunity? They've got Jalen Cropper up, and that's probably mostly for special teams, but they had some stuff in for him in the offense in preseason. So all of those questions will be, and one of these days, I don't know if it's tonight, one of these days, Brevin Spann-Ford is going to have a breakout game. He is right on the verge of that, and if they can get two tight ends going well, that can help ameliorate the absence of one of their best receivers.
Brad, you're the man. Thanks for the time, brother. Enjoy the game
boys.
tonight.
Have a great night. Thanks.
There he goes, voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. And now we head down to the turf of AT&T Stadium and welcome in Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales for her keys to the game. Brought to you by Pollock Aurora, proud supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Christy, what do you know?
Yeah, I think Brad hit the nail on the head in terms of without CeeDee Lamb. I think this could be a breakout game for Brevin Spann-Ford, but I think this is the night for complimentary football where you got to keep it close. It can't be like Chicago where you get behind the 8 ball and get away from the run, because that has been a real strength for the Cowboys this year, unlike the previous season. But the Cowboys are averaging almost 5.5 yards a carry, which is second best in the NFL in terms of average, so that's a strength. But the thing is, the Green Bay run defense is a strength. Their average, they allow just barely over 3 yards a carry. So I think that run game and being able to stick to it, keep the game close, is going to be the key for the Cowboys offense tonight.
Scoop, you take the ball and you kick this thing off if you get the opportunity.
You know what? I think I don't know if I want Micah out there for the crowd's going to be going crazy if he's out there that first play. So I wouldn't mind deferring if I win the toss tonight.
We get Kenny Clark with some captain status tonight.
That's right. Kenny Clark is the game captain, the former Green Bay Packer, of course. And then it's interesting. We'll see which one. You can only have 6 captains walk out for the coin toss, and the Cowboys already have 6 season-long captains, Dak and CD. He'll probably, since CD's inactive, he'll be in street clothes on the sideline. So I think it'll be Kenny Clark walking out there alongside Dak. And then, of course, Oso Digizua, Donovan Wilson, and for special teams, C.J. Goodwin and Brandon Aubrey. But I can tell you just the energy in this building. I mean, it was great for the regular season opener against the Giants 2 weeks ago, but that was a noon game. Let's just say that everyone has had extra time to get revved up and feeling a little sassy tonight, whether they're wearing green and yellow or wearing their Cowboys blue. You can feel the energy.
No question, it's going to be a wild time here in that building tonight. Christy, thank you so much, and enjoy the game. We'll be listening.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. There she goes, Cowboy sideline reporter Christy Scales, as we inch closer and closer to kickoff. Brian brought us. I'm going to start with the bad news. I'm going Cowboys losing this football game. I'm going to go 34-23.
You don't give them a chance at all, do you?
It's tough. It's tough to find it right now. It's tough to find it right now. It's really that much respect I have for the Packers, and seeing this Cowboys defense now versus the Bears and the Giants. I know you get Bland and Clowney back, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to get to Jordan Love in a way that they need to.
Yeah, I believe in the desperate team theory. I've been saying it all week. Dallas is a desperate football team right now.
Yep.
The Packers are compromised in their offensive line pressure effects. This is the night that the Dallas Cowboys pass rush comes to play.
Yes.
And I'm going to give this. This is going to be a walk-off field goal right here.
Butter
is going to walk this thing off. Give me Dallas 27, the Packers 24.
Butter beats the cheese. I can see the headline now in the Dallas Morning News. All right, that'll do it for the pregame show here at AT&T Stadium. Kickoff around the corner with Brad, Babe, and Christy. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.